it or not, there is a moment meant for us. And now you made it, but I already played this. Not interested, open your eyes, let's get it done. Take my hand, just follow me. Shadow and me are one.
What's up, Jason Poos? How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Sherm. So good to see you in your Summer of Poomsae tank top.
Guns out, because the sun's out. All right. So listen, welcome everybody back to the continuation of USA Taekwondo's Summer of Poomsae. We are your hosts, Sherman Nelson, Jason Poos. We are the Chopping It Up champions, and we are happy to be with y'all again. So Jay, we got another week of life in the post quasi pandemic. I don't even know what to call it. It's another day, another week, I think.
Yeah, just trying to dig through the challenges as we all are. But the one good thing about this type of scenario that we're getting into with the Summer of Poomsae is that athletes are getting to put their best foot forward in this virtual format. And to me, it's been fun so far, watching the adults and a lot of what I would call minor upsets, and then some new freestyle people I'd never seen before. And of course, some freestyle people moving into the more of the traditional Poomsae, sport Poomsae. So it's pretty interesting to see people are really find a way to keep themselves busy, like you said, in these adverse conditions.
Yeah, and it is, as competitors and then coaches of competitors, we know what it's like to keep your steel sharp. You gotta constantly find that whetstone to keep your edge so that you don't get dull. And so I'm grateful for USA Taekwondo recognizing that and putting forth this. Shout out to Jose, who does the work of 13 middle-aged people. And so we're very happy to have Jose because he is a rock star. No, seriously, I'm joking. Jose, we love you, man. We appreciate you. All right, so Jay, we have Cadet Male Black Belts in today's episode. There are a rack of youngins. It's a rack.
Yes, there are. No, that's just it. When we talk about having one division in one episode, that tells you all you need to know. That is competitors, right? Going to be competing for the chance to move from the prelims to the semifinals. There's so many names, so many competitors there. So we're going to forego giving the names because it would take a very long time. So just know that when we get to the semis and finals, we're going to give you the names of the competitors. Obviously, all however many of you, whether it be 100, 1,000 of you guys, good luck. Sherman and I are looking forward to seeing who makes the semifinals. We're going to throw it out to our commentators here at this point, right? So let's throw it out to the commentators as we get ready for the prelims in the cadet. That's called a 14, black belt, Summer of Poomsae. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm U.S. National Poomsae team member Barbara Brand, and I'm representing in the Master 3 division. And when I was able to make the team this time around, I was super happy and grateful because the last time I'd been on the team was 2011. I'd been on the team from 2007 to 11, and then I had this huge break, not because I didn't want to make the team, but because I'd been trying to make the team, but just wasn't successful until 2020. So I just kept at it, and I was so happy when I finally made the team in 2020. Then at the beginning of this year, when COVID started to rear its head, we had plenty of time to kind of wonder about what was going to happen with World Championships in Denmark. And as time went on, it became increasingly clear that it might get postponed or canceled. But all along I thought, even though it might get postponed or canceled, it certainly can't postpone or cancel or diminish in any way my passion to train. So that's just where I put my focus, because that was really the only thing that I could control during that time period. And in addition to that, I reached out to other team members. Plenty of team members were feeling like they're so used to training, they were just continuing to do that. That's all we could do. Just try to take the opportunity. Maybe we're going to get a few more months to train. Maybe we'd get a whole nother year to train. But no matter what, we just kept our heads up and kept working out really hard. There are so many athletes out there, just like me. We just share this passion for Taekwondo. And we really might not know exactly where it comes from, but what I think it might be is that there are so many different elements that have to come together to make that perfect Poomsae. It's just a piece of art. And sometimes we're looking to chase that accuracy score to get that perfect 4.0, and we're trying to chase that presentation score to get that 6.0, to get that combined 10. And I think until we get that 10, we're just going to keep chasing it. There's like one piece at a time, one technique at a time. And then when we get it, whether it's in our imagination, our dreams, or in reality, it's just going to be like, poof, we did it. And to get 110, that would be amazing, right? To get all 8 10s, one for each of the Poomsae that are required, that would be just mind-blowing, just showstopper. So I think that's in the back of our head as Poomsae athletes, and it certainly is for me, to just kind of pick up that score 1 point at a time. 3.1 to 3.3 to 3.4 in accuracy, and then keep climbing through the fours in presentation till we get that. And that's why I think that I keep training in Poomsae, and I think a lot of other athletes share that as well. Right now, we're on the stage here, and we're in the Summer of Poomsae event that's being broadcast all over the place. And it would be wonderful if one day the broadcast was on ESPN. As a matter of fact, one of our athletes actually mentioned ESPN. They said that this coverage feels a little bit like ESPN with the cool commentary and all the other kind of production value. It would be really nice if one day we were able to actually be on ESPN or that level of platform. And if the US team was represented by athletes from all over the country, just like one from every single state, that would be so amazing to see that one day. If my Poomsae career was a book I was gonna write, I think that of all the genres to choose from, I could probably choose from like horror story, comedy, suspense, action adventure, but really I'd probably settle on a love story because it's just a genuine love. And sometimes I could probably like shift from chapter to chapter thinking maybe it's my love for somebody else's sidekick that I will probably want to marry. And then maybe the next chapter would be somebody's rhythm and flow that I would want to really connect with. But that's how I feel. If I was gonna write a book, I'd probably pick a love story. For everybody out there who's continuing to train during COVID, good job. And for all of our 2020 national team members, I know that most of you are actually in this event right here, the Summer of Poomsae event, which just shows me no matter what happens, we're just gonna keep going. COVID's gonna be temporary, but our passion's gonna be forever. So I can't wait to see you guys out on the ring, on the mat, side by side. We'll be competing together, and hopefully we'll hit that winner's platform, that winner's podium together.
Hello, everyone. My name is Miyako Yerick, and I'm here with the wonderful Coach Barbara Brand, who we just heard from. We are starting the male Cadet Black Belt division. There are, wait for it, 65 competitors in this 12 to 14-year-old male division. And we are starting with Alexander Calvez, and he is from Kansas versus Sport Taekwondo and coached by Self Wilson.
Well, hi, Miyako. Want to join you. This is National Coach Barbara Brand along with you today. I hope you're having a fantastic day to start. Look like we're ready to go here with our first competitor, Alexander Calvez. Doing a really good job on Chiljung there.
Chiljung is one of my favorite forms personally, but I like front kicks, so let's see here. Alexander's score is a 5.43 total. Accuracy there, a little bit of a spread, 2.07 total on that accuracy.
This should be a really exciting division here. These cadets are young, they're strong, and they're ready to go. So he's starting off on Taeguk. So our first two forms in the preliminary round are going to be Taeguk Chiljung and Taeguk Gyukjung. Well, of them have their little individual niche type techniques that need some extra work. Certainly in the Chiljung we have some unique hand techniques, and in this form we have a round kick, which is unusual amongst all the other Poomsae.
Right, Yukjung is the only form where you get that round kick, and lots of unique motions in both of these forms. I definitely agree. Really nice setup there too, with that logo in the background and the logo on the TV. Nice clear space. So second form here for Alex is a 5.87.
And he did a little bit with that same accuracy bump down there with 2.1 from one of the judges, but ends up with a final Poomsae score of 5.65 and into first place with a huge gap so far. Here is Kobe Pearson.
Nice and flexible. Those hand kicks are going way up above his head without any motion on his upper body. And we should expect here with the 12 to 14-year-olds, we are going to see some flexible kids, and those kicks will be nice and high.
Looks like he's in a nice home training area, all decked out with mat and bag and all. It's a really good space. Kobe's from world champion Taekwondo in Texas, and his coach is Master Hyun Lee.
So we are seeing a couple of accuracy errors here from Kobe, just footwork and hand placement, some things. So I think the accuracy score will be a little bit hit from that, but his kicks were really high. So presentation 3.53, accuracy 2.13, overall 5.67. I think that seems about right, even though there was a huge spread there in that accuracy, Coach Brand.
1.44 accuracy from that first judge there, and he was still able to eke out that pretty high score. So good job to him for his high presentation. And I'm going to expect to see a lot of little accuracy dings here and there with this division, because they're still learning, still developing what the Poomsae accuracy is all about.
Right, and at 12 to 14, you know, you're still growing, so your body is, you're still figuring it out, and how to control all those body parts so well is definitely a challenge as you age into this division.
And from month to month, the stances seem to have to grow to adjust to the new height of the athlete, and that's very challenging for them. They sometimes move like a smaller child when actually they are a very long-legged child by that time.
And we'll probably see really differences in the height. So the 12-year-olds might be really short, and the 14-year-olds hitting that growth spurt could be way taller. So we'll definitely see a lot of different body types in this division, different skill levels coming into depending on when you started Taekwondo. So I think we'll see a good spread here. Again, we have so many athletes. So Kobe coming in, again, some spread there on the accuracy, 5.8 total on that second form gives him a 5.73 for his overall score.
You should feel really good about that second score coming in a little bit higher. I think we all do when we get a Poomsae that's feeling really comfortable to us. We get that high score reward. That feels really great. Up next, we have Evan Young.
Evan Young is from Just Taekwondo, and he's coached by Justin Wong, who we know very well. He's not in the studio. We've seen some other athletes like Kim Menchavez in the senior 2 women's in the dojang. So he's somewhere else maybe training and putting in a pretty good start here to Chiljung.
Yeah, for the most part in California, athletes are not allowed to have activity indoors. So it looks like this may be a home training space that he's created for himself, or maybe he was able to find a dojang that was fairly empty at the time. This is Evan Young from Just Taekwondo in Southern California.
And we can talk a little bit about the uniforms too. We're seeing the boys in those blue pants this time. First score coming in here for Evan, really high, 6.9. Presentation at 4.0 is one of the higher ones that I've seen. So even a couple hits on the accuracy made up for it in presentation.
Well, you look at his body type, he looks really balanced, has a fairly low center of gravity, and is able to move in a balanced position from step to step. So that's really helping him through this.
Right, and we're seeing that his kicks aren't vertical. You know, he doesn't have the highest kicks, but really good control, overall body position is letting him get that score of almost a 7, even without the presentation of the high kicks that we might see some other athletes in this division have.
If you're watching this episode, and this is the first one that you've watched so far, one thing that you might want to look at is when the hand and foot finish. So referees are looking for that. If the foot finishes and then the hand comes in a beat later, then there'll be a little accuracy ding for that. So you want to finish all the movement at the exact same time.
Kenny.
Another good score, 6.97. So real solid lead here in first place is Evan Young from Just Taekwondo.
Up next, we have Michael Cho. He's part of Eagles Taekwondo in California, coached by Grandmaster, I believe, actually, Jung Jin. And Michael enjoys math and reading as well as cooking in his spare time. But it doesn't look like he has a lot of spare time because it looks like he trains Poomsae a lot, Coach Brand.
Yeah, he sure does. I remember him on the tournament scene as a very young boy with all of his teammates there kind of tagging along when he was young, but now he's full and, huge part of that team, a strong member there. And he's showing that kind of eagle solidity as he's moving through this Taeguk Chiljung here, trying to really make those strong, quick individual movements and then coming to a complete stop before the next one.
Hello. Sure.
So in that first score coming in at 7.03, that's kind of what I expected while looking at the performance. Was that the same for you too, Miyako?
I liked this one a little bit better than the previous athlete. I was expecting it to be a couple tenths higher, but there were some upper body movement. He didn't quite stop with the feet, so maybe taking off some points for that. But nice high kicks, a little bit of head motion on those front kicks. But overall, I like this style, and I like his performance so far.
Yeah, he might be getting a couple of accuracy deductions for where the hand is finishing, right? So there's a set start point to every hand technique and a finish point. So he may need to review a couple of those at the beginning of the form. And then right about here, when he does his hand technique, he tends to go a little bit low on the lead. And those can add up, each one being a significant deduction. So 4 of those in the form will definitely impact the total score there.
Definitely that first bar and then up again at the top, it should have been right at shoulder height, and it was falling closer to solar plexus. So within the right body area, so not a major deduction, but because it wasn't at the right level, that would just be a minor, like you said, and that's 0.4. So accuracy taking a little hit, but fairly consistent. Overall score of 7.2. So that one did go up from the first form, but maybe with those corrections, it could be even higher in the mid 7s. So overall for Michael, we're getting a 7.12.
Next up, we have Logan Large. He's from Master Lee's World Champion Taekwondo, also coached by Master Houston Lee.
This top bar here has so much dynamicism to it. There's so many little parts that you could just do wrong. Like, is your fist turned the wrong way? Did you grab above the neck? Did you not punch to the ankle? So there's just a lot of little parts there that we could see some deductions on. I think maybe cleaning up just a little bit more here for Logan so that he gets a little bit of a harder stop. I feel like he had a really good flow, but not that stop. So accuracy taking a little bit of a hit here, 2.7, and an overall score of 6.5.
Which is actually a pretty good score, so well above some of the first competitors of the division and just behind the last 2 competitors. Yes, Taegeuk Chiljung is like an accuracy quagmire. There are just so many small movements here on the front, the lines going to the sides, right? So if you haven't watched Taekwondo before, going left to right, those sides there, that happens 4 times to the right and left. So hopefully you'll see that with our next competitor, all the little details with the hand technique.
We are getting some pre-steps here on this last part as well.
바로
One of the hardest things about Taegeuk Yukjang is that you can't see your spot. So when you're going into that last, 4 moves, you have to just know that you're on the right spot before you start. Otherwise, you're going to miss your mark because you cannot look down to look at it. But a 6.57 here for Logan's second form, which will give him a combined score of 6.53.
And we'll have the overall standings here now with Michael Cho in first place, followed by Evan Young, Logan Large, Kobe Pearson, and Alexander Calvez. Not a tremendous gap between those players, so I think it's anybody's game still on this one. Up next here is Alexander Tudor from Connecticut. He's from World Champion Taekwondo in Westport, and his coach is Master Donghyun Jong.
I think probably one of the 14-year-olds. He looks a little bit taller.
He does. You can really see that as an athlete, he's a little bit taller, a little bit more developed here. And that can really help him with his power score if he uses it to his advantage.
Hey, 바로
They're interesting walls too. I wonder if they're soft.
show.
I can just imagine sparring in that dojang and getting kicked and just being like, okay, I'll just go fall into the wall.
I was thinking the same thing. It wouldn't be a bad fate, right, to have to fall into one of those. 5.9 for Alexander Tudor's first score.
차렷 준비.
So he did take some accuracy hits there. I think watching the kind of bounce, we're a little bit bouncing into some of those stances as opposed to just sinking and sticking. And really extending the shoulders along with those stances. He looks tall, but maybe not quite used to his height yet. So stances are a little bit short, like we mentioned. You just have to get used to it as you grow into your body.
Right. I think if you can get a little bit lower, you might feel a little bit more grounded and more secure to throw that heavy power with the hand technique. But when you're kind of upright, it's a little bit more difficult to do that.
바로
So a lot of potential here for Alexander Tudor, and here comes in
퇴장.
his second score. 6.4, nice job on that one for sure. Got some good solid scores in presentation there and ends up with 3.63 in presentation score, and the final score 6.15. This backdrop looks familiar. This is Christopher Surya from Versus Sport Taekwondo, and he is coached by Master Seth Wilson. Familiar face around USA Taekwondo. Been in service for quite a long time, helping athletes across the board in many different ways, serving on many different committees and volunteering over the years to help our sport grow.
So Chris here, I think, is maybe on the 12 year of the age category, 12 to 14. He was born in 2008. So that's the year I graduated from high school. So when he was born.
6.13. He might have taken a pretty good accuracy hit. At one point, he was facing the incorrect direction on that elbow strike. The guy looked straight to the rear in the direction that he was going, but his face was to the side. So that's an easy thing to correct, and then get back another 0.3 in your score. Nice, solid high front kick though, and good foot position on this form. Take a cube jump. Those picky little things about where to set down that round kick may impact the score for a lot of competitors. Want to have that foot lands straight forward at about the length of a normal front stance. But sometimes we see students step off to the right or left and maybe a little short here and there. So that will definitely impact the score. Did really well on Taega Kyukjung here with 6.47. And his combined score is about to come up right here. He has a final score of 6.3.
So we're only going to see those rankings every 6 athletes now. So remember, if you're watching this and you're looking for your score, just write it down and then keep track of who's at the top. Every 6, you'll be able to see that ranking list again. This next athlete is also from Eagles Taekwondo team in California, and this is Sean So. Coming out really clean, nice start.
This is a line that we were referring to earlier that has a lot of unique hand techniques. You won't see them anywhere else in the Poomsae combined like this. So it's a really good opportunity for our young athletes to try something new, right? Other than the Taega Poomsae, which are all fairly similar. And even Taega Gojung and Yukjung, there are some similarities between those two, but this one seems to be very unique. He received 7.17, so really well done here with some solid presentation scores in the 4.44 and 4.1.
And that's going to put him near the top, especially if he can keep a similar score. He'll be right up there around number 1. Nice high front kicks. Not too much of a swing. You did see the knee come up first. Really nice.
Right, he's got a nice chamber on this. It looks like his thigh is almost touching his chest before he extends his kick, which we all love to do whenever we can manage it. It's pretty consistent. Not too much swinging. Sometimes in Taega Kyukjung, athletes have a look of like maybe their leg is moving like a pendulum, kind of swinging up and swinging down with no real emphasis as to where the kick actually is, where the striking point is. So this was not the case. He did a really good job of chambering the kick and extending it clearly. And he's well rewarded for that with a 7.37.
Yep, similar presentation, but accuracy crept up, which gave him that higher score. Lets his total score come up to a 7.27, which I believe should put him in first place. But like I said, we will see that after every 6 athletes. So we'll be able to check on his ranking. Next athlete is Anderson Deng. He is from New York, and he attends Team Champions Bayside Taekwondo School, coached by Master Andrew Oh. I feel like this form has a lot of tiger stances and then also deep stances, but then coming up nice and tall. So being able to show that difference in height from when you should be standing up versus in a deep stance. So here, horse stance, and then up into a walking stance. There needs to be a big difference, and I like how low he's sitting in these horse stances. You can really see that height difference, which is good.
Yeah, this form is the first time in Taekwondo Poomsae that both horse stance and the Boomsogi are in the steps. So really good for the athletes to start developing and adding these extra techniques as they're learning the Poomsae. Anderson Deng received 6.5 on that first form, Taega Kyukjung.
시작.
It was a really nice high round kick, and then there's the gamble there, right? Like how high do you go? What are you willing to risk? Because we do want to make sure that we recover with a solid stance right after the round kick. So a lot of athletes may be able to kick higher, but might temper it just to make sure that they can complete it with balance.
Right, and we did see that he stepped in line when he stepped down from the round kick, but it was almost in place. He did not slide forward that front stance length. So we'll see if the judges caught it and if this accuracy score goes down at all. So some gap there in the accuracy. Maybe two of them saw it and the other one didn't. Overall 6.77 on the second form, which brings his overall score to a 6.63.
Cadet Junior.
This is Dylan Kim from Taekwondo Kids and Team M Community Poomsae program. And his instructors and coaches are Coach or Master Sonu, and then his coaches On, Kui, and Long Win.
In a very familiar setting, hashtag the garage here for M Team's garage where they train. It's so far been a really good run for Dylan.
Yeah, I like his solid finishes. So he's able to finish each technique solidly and then connect to the next movement, which is really important when we're working on our flow. So that's a good score, 7.2 for Dylan Kim on Taeguk Choljong.
준비.
Oh, looks like we zoomed in here.
시작.
Front kicks are so high, they're just going out of screen. Round kick going out of screen too.
Now, I'm not sure if the referees will have the same view. I have heard from athletes in different episodes that they were not out of frame when they made their Poomsae, but sometimes when we view it in this format, that's what we see. So it's likely that the referees were able to see the whole body from head to toe as he was doing the kicks.
바로.
Right, depends on if you're full screen or partial screen. It sort of just depends. So this is how we saw it, but I will say they were just very high. So really nice presentation on the kicks, and accuracy a little lower, just below 3, overall score of 7.07 for the second form, which brings his overall score to a 7.13. Again, that should be up there in the top athletes for now. He was the 10th athlete, Dylan Kim was, and just a reminder, we have 65 male athletes in this cadet division.
자.
This next athlete is Edward Murrow. He's from New York, and he's also from Team Champions Long Island, coached by Master Hyun-suk Lee.
So it's really great to see that we have so many athletes from across the country. So far, we've had athletes from Kansas, Texas, California, and Connecticut, and New York. So it'd be wonderful when we one day have them from every single state in the U.S. here. But we're off to a good start with many diverse athletes.
Absolutely, and that is one nice thing about this online system, is that you can compete without needing to travel. So Edward here pulling in a 6.23 on his first form.
I think we're going to have a huge pack of the athletes right at that same score level, right in those 6.2s, 6.1, 6.3s.
Right, and because we do have 65 athletes in this division, this is the preliminary round. And to go into the semifinals, you need to be 33 or above. So we will take the top 33 scores into the semifinal round.
Right, so we're looking for the top half of the competitors, the top half of the competitors that scored the highest. So some of these are going to be really, really close. We get to these scores right here that they seem to be right on top of each other.
차렷 경례.
Right, we haven't seen too much of an overall spread yet, but we're only about 11 athletes in out of that 65. So a 6.33 here for Edward's second form, and his overall score will be a 6.28. So here's those rankings again. We have 11 so far. Sean So in that 7.27 spot. And you see, if you have a 7, you're already in the top 3. And then we go down into the 6s and just a couple in the 5s. So keep those scores in mind as you wait for yourself to come up and track your score.
And here we have Elliot Kim from Eagle Taekwondo joining his 2 teammates in the same division, Sean So and Michael Cho. I think that part of the form with those double blocks is really challenging for a lot of students to know where to finish them, to not have too much wave from side to side in both their shoulders and their knees as they come forward. Sometimes they want to put a little bit on it to give it a little bit of a fill, but it ends up kind of going sideways from left to right.
Right, figuring out the right amount of shoulder turn without letting your stance move, without those knees moving is very difficult. But a really nice score here, 7.0 for Elliot Kim on his first form.
Yeah, one of the judges really gave him quite a different accuracy score than the other 2. He gave him a 2.6 versus the 3.1 he was getting from the other judges. So really seeing some small accuracy deductions as he's going here.
So here's that round kick we can watch for to see if he lands in line at a front stance distance. Pretty good.
Yeah, that looks just about right. Strong recovery here. So now he just needs to finish up this back line. As you mentioned, you can't really see his starting point. So when he gets to his finish point, he's hoping that he's going to be in the exact same spot.
Sure.
That was Elliot Kim from Eagle Taekwondo. And his score for Taega Gyukjang was 7.0. So as you mentioned, the 7s is what's going to probably get you into the top half of the division here and then on to the semifinal round. So his final Poomsae score for both is 7.0. This is Tristan Calvez. Looks like maybe the brother of Alex Calvez, who was our first competitor. Again, he's from Kansas, from Versus Sport Taekwondo, and his coach is Master Seth Wilson.
One other thing to work on in this bar at the end of Taega Gyukjang is when you're doing those kicks, it's really easy for your hand to fly out to the side from the impact of the kick, and you really want to leave it right to the back. So we shouldn't be able to see that hand fly out to the sides after you kick it, and that kick should come across, not down. You don't want to slap your hand down, but more like a high five sideways. Hold that hand to the back, and then go into those elbow smashes.
Yeah, those types of moves are real evident to the referees because they have that perfect view. So we want to make sure that we're doing those correctly. Now, Tristan looks like he may be growing really quickly here. So you may need to adjust the size of his front stance. Because right now they're a little bit on the shallow side. So maybe just spend a little bit more time with that. Say, hey, I am growing and my body is changing, and I'm going to need to put in a little bit of extra time to adapt. And it's really going to pay off for Tristan.
Yep, and watch the angle on those back stance feet as well. You want to make sure that they're really open in a 90-degree angle so that that back knee and foot are open. So we took some accuracy hits on both of these forms. Second form is a 5.83. So his overall score will be a 5.7.
And here's Talal Khan. He is from Minneapolis from World Taekwondo Academy, and his coach is Master Patrick Ho.
Have a little bit lower angle here on the camera. A little bit different than some of the other athletes. This might be closer to the floor.
Yeah, it actually looks pretty close to the floor. I think that a better vantage point might be around the middle of the body, but as you mentioned the other day, you like this angle because it makes the kicks look higher.
My round kicks would be vertical, Coach Brent.
Well, we're going to see in a minute if that's the case for Talal Khan. We just finished Taegu Chiljung there with a score of 6.9.
So pretty high. Also one of the younger athletes, born in 2008, so probably 12 this year. Not even yet. His birthday's coming up in just less than a month now.
So let's take a look at this round kick from this angle. Oh yeah, it does look pretty high.
How high it looks. I'm telling you, this is how I'm going to do my recordings.
Oh, please don't do that. And in the future, Talal, maybe put yours right at about your belt height is probably where a good spot for the camera is, depending on the distance, of course. There's that round kick landing that you mentioned. He landed just a little bit behind himself, and so that did impact his recovery on the next stance.
Right, it makes him have to cheat here on this last bar to get back to that center line. And all joking aside, right, it does help to have the camera be where a referee would be watching if they were sitting in a chair. So accuracy, a couple hits there, 2.7 overall, pretty wide range in the score. And his overall score will be a 6.68. It's also interesting that because we're centered, we really just have that one view, whereas normally you would have 3 referees in the front and they would be slightly off to the angles, a few feet to the right or left, but we only have this center angle.
This is Anthony Go from Sacramento Taekwondo Club, here training in Sacramento, actually with me. Working his way through Taegu Chiljung.
Nice piece of artwork in the back there, Coach Brand. It almost matches your artwork behind you right now.
Does it? Don't know how that could happen. I'm trying to get this last line here nice and accurate with good rhythm and good speed and rhythm here. That's what every athlete is looking for in Taegu Chiljung. Try to have nice, quick, accurate movement with a good coordination of the rhythm and the timing. And for his form, 6.93.
So a spread there on the accuracy, dropping it a little bit. But overall, I thought that was really nice. And a fun fact about Anthony is that outside of Taekwondo, he likes tricking and sleeping.
I think he has that in common with just about every other athlete in his division, right? He likes to sleep.
But Anthony here showing really great flexibility, nice long legs, one of the older athletes. So that length of the kicks really coming through to his advantage because he can use that flexibility to his advantage. And I think one way to avoid that pendulum look on the front kick that you mentioned earlier is making sure that you don't let your hip come forward too much on the front kick. If you can square up your hip and just kick straight up, it'll allow you to control it more. Whereas if you push the hip forward, then it has to swing back. So it just makes it look a lot more swingy than it is. And Anthony here, really good control, overall 7.07 on that second form, which brings his total score up to 7. So he should be making that cut into semis.
We're here at the USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae. I'm Jason Poos with Ethan Gunn. I'm going to say the calm, cool, and collected Ethan Gunn because he's just so relaxed all the time, so calm and cool. Ethan, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. You've competed in the competition, so let's talk a little bit about the Summer of Poomsae first. It's a virtual tournament. You're not in the arena, but you're submitting your perfect Poomsae ultimately to win this championship. How did you get it done, and how long does it take to do that and ultimately submit it to USA Taekwondo?
I just train regularly, as normal as I do. Normally when I train, it's usually with Yerick and all of my teammates. So we train hard most of the time, every time. We put 100% to it, and we try our best.
I heard any question. I've seen you out there. You do 100% all the time, and I've been most impressed with your ability to block out some of the extraneous noise and thing at events, and go out there and compete at a high level. How old are you?
I'm 12, sir.
So is this your first year in that Cadet Black Belt ranking system?
No, it's my second year, sir.
Second year now? Okay, so the reason why I bring that up is because you have a Poomsae ranking system now. And so now you get to see. So how do you feel about actually being able to know where you're ranked in the country in Poomsae?
I'm already familiar with the system as last year, with sparring, traveling and competing.
Right.
And gathering points to qualify for world championships.
Yeah, a sparring athlete as well. So you get it, because we've had the sparring ranking system, like you said before. So it's just following sort of the same protocol, the same procedure with Poomsae now. So it's like, for you, it's old hat. I love that. So how about this? Let's talk about what we do outside of Taekwondo. What do you do to have fun when you're not training 100% with your other athletes and brothers and sisters?
I like to dance, draw, and play soccer with friends and family. So it's really fun to do that.
I like that. What kind of dance do you like to do?
Any type of dance, really.
Okay, so we can set the dance contest up between you and Coach Nelson coming up soon, right?
I'm gonna win.
Yeah, I have total confidence in you're gonna win it, because I'm telling you, notice I put Coach Nelson in there, not me. But I like your chances. I'm gonna put my money on you, but we've got to set that up. So it's going to be Ethan Gunn versus Sherman Nelson Jr. in the dance-off. And I've got my money on you, my friend, no doubt about it. Does that sound that work for you?
Sounds great.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. It is Ethan Gunn, the incomparable. Like I told you guys, he's calm, he's cool, he's collected. It's Ethan Gunn. And you get to see his younger brother in the background. We get to see that often. Ethan, thank you so much for spending time with me here on Chopping It Up in the USA Taekwondo Summer of Poomsae. Good luck to you at this up-and-coming event, and I cannot wait to see you guys when we get back to events.
Thank you, sir.
Anytime. Thanks again. It is Ethan Gunn. Good luck.
Kane. Tunde.
And here we have Ethan Gunn.
Shut.
And both Ethan and his brother Yerick will be competing in this division. He's from Apex Tigers team ATMA in New Jersey. And he is coached by his father, Master Yerick Gunn.
Also a well-known and certified referee with USA Taekwondo. So that was really nice. His hands did not really move outside that line that we talked about after the kick. So good control, good attention to detail here from Ethan.
And he ends up with a 6.77 for Chojang. It seems like for many of our athletes, they get a little bit of a higher score on Taegukjang. And let's see if that's the case here for Ethan Gunn.
Shut.
Just a little bit of extra body movement. Again, it's so hard at this age to have that really full body control. You have the flexibility, you have the nice volume of motion, but getting your body to be able to stop really hard in between each move is something I think you really grow into over the divisions.
It's really tempting to throw your whole body into raising the kick. So that happened a little bit with Ethan here, where he's trying to kick high, and definitely we all try to do the same thing, is push up as high as we can. But we want to reduce the amount of extra body movement. So Ethan received a 6.7 on his second Poomsae there, Taegukjang, for an overall score of 6.73.
Sure. Junior.
And this is Daniel Kasich from Kim's Academy of Taekwondo, and he's coached by Master Alex Stadler. He seems, on my screen anyway, pretty close to the camera. So I'm hoping it's a bit of an optical illusion for me right now, because otherwise he might run into the camera in just a moment or so. I don't know if that's a close-up there. It looks pretty close. But maybe just to our viewing format. He may have had his whole body showing, and the referees may be able to see that. If that's not the case, he'll take some big accuracy deductions because we need to have the whole body viewable.
Right, and the more moves you do outside of screen, the more hits you take. So let's see here. We didn't see any deductions that show up like we did in Senior 1 with Kevin Jung. So this might be an okay score for him overall.
So when we're doing this front kick, we want to try to have the support leg as straight as possible. See a little bit of dipping during these front kicks on the support leg. So I think that can be something that can be worked on here, and he'll probably get a little bit higher presentation if he can manage that. Hey. It makes us look a little bit shorter when we're doing that. So we want to make sure we're standing nice and tall and show the full length of that front kick. So that was Daniel Kasich finishing up Take a Cute Jump.
And unrelated to the Poomsae, but related to the uniforms, he was wearing an Adidas uniform there. Daniel's second form here is 6.07. And the uniform brands are different cuts. So Daniel here's total score is 6.13. We can see the standings here. So again, those top 5 athletes so far with a 7 or above. We did have a tie between Anthony and Ethan for 7.0. And you're looking to be one of the top 33.
Hey, you are chopping it up with one half of the dynamic duo, the better looking half. This is Sherman Nelson, and I'm here with Yerick Chua, one of our virtual Summer of Poomsae competitors. All right, so tell me, what's it like preparing for a virtual competition that's all digital? There's no stadium, there's no gym. What's that like?
So basically, all I do is just like I just keep practicing as much as I can to keep thinking, what motions can I get right, and how do I get this thing right, or like what other ways can I do that is legal to not like mess up or do a technical point off, and then what can I do to make this better, and just think about that all over again as I'm practicing for this tournament. Nice.
Listen, what can I do that's legal so I don't mess up? I think I might incorporate that into my life, Yerick. See, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to learn from the young people because you have so much to teach. How have you been? Listen, we're 6 months into this pandemic. We haven't been, some dojons are open again, but how have you just managed this whole time frame?
I basically just like sit, relax, and just think about what's I'm trying to reflect to what I'm doing with my family and all this during this pandemic. Just enjoy my time spending with my family. Yeah.
That's good. And it is this pandemic is helping us understand what's really important, and family is very important. All right, so I need you put on your wisdom hat. What is one thing that you would recommend for any and everybody to do to help keep themselves calm and centered as we continue? We don't know how long this is going to last, but what's one thing that you think any and everybody could do to kind of keep themselves on an even keel?
I think they should do what they love. Like for me, I love doing taekwondo. I do taekwondo to like relax, maybe just to have fun. Or if someone likes to play basketball, they can play basketball, have fun, just relax. Don't think about like, oh, this pandemic is just a world-ending event. Just think about what the good things you can do while stuck at home, like enjoying sports or watching TV, playing video games, such and such.
Got you. Listen, I appreciate it. Thank you, Eric, for giving us that nugget. Hopefully somebody will recognize that. Do the thing you love doing, and don't think about all the things you can't do when you can still do the thing you love doing. Appreciate you, man. Listen, from all of us at USA Taekwondo, thank you again for taking time out of your day. From me to you, man, I wish you the best at this competition and every competition. I cannot wait till we're back in a stadium or an arena where we can give each other a fist bump in real life, but I'll give you a virtual one. Oh, I don't know where my camera is, so I got to switch hands. Bam, all right. I almost knocked my phone over, and that would have been crazy. All right, this is Coach Nelson. That is Yerick Chua. He is the man, the myth, the legend. Hi! But he got chopped. Oh, I like the 20-second delay reaction. That's very nice. All right. See you soon, y'all. Peace.
Cadet.
Yerick Chua, who's from California, Black Tiger Taekwondo, coached by Master Kenny Cho. So these tighter uniform legs really show if there's a bend in your back leg on the front stances. So just keep in mind, everything becomes visible on these videos. If you have a tapered leg, you really have to lock out that back leg in your front stances.
If you have some great stances, that definitely is the uniform for you then, because you can really highlight that and show, look, this is what I have going here, and I look strong. It looks like he's trying to do just that, lock out each of those front stances as he works his way through Chiljang.
Nice length on the front stances, maybe just a little bit of a slip on that top bar.
Sure.
But overall, really deep stances, nice locked out. I think this will be nice. Yep, almost a 7, a 6.97 for his score on Chiljang.
When you're watching these scores, the 7s and the high 6s is probably what's going to move the athletes into the semifinal round. Again, looking for the top 33 scores in this group of 65 cadet male black belts.
Really good flexibility. There was great height on both the front kicks and the round kick. But a little bit piking on the round kick. So we shouldn't be able to see, this side was better. The other side I could see his head sticking out. So just keep in mind the full body position on those round kicks.
Pro. Sure. Cadet. Teacher.
Yep, so a higher score here, 7.1 on his second form, which will push the total score up just a little bit for a 7.03 for Yerick.
I think that should move him into about 4th place, if I'm correct. So he's definitely safe at this point to move into the semifinal round.
시작.
Next up, we have Amir Bahadur from Massachusetts and Premier Sport Taekwondo, coached by Master Tae Young Kim. And Amir
바로 샷.
So Amir Bahadur finishes up his first form, taking Chiljang, and receives a score of 6.33. Got hit kind of hard by one of the judges for accuracy, with that score being 2.3 and the referee score of 2.8. So quite a big spread there for the accuracy.
시작.
So I think his He's moving through the form. We see a little bit of extra upper body movement. Once he calms down with that, I think that his scores will go much higher. Looks like he has a lot of potential, strong core in general. Just maybe using it a little bit too much as he's emphasizing the extension of the kick. Just has a couple extra movements there.
바로 차렷 경례.
So again, that was Amir Bahadur with a total score, at least the second Poomsae, 6.63. Did much better on the accuracy in this form, for sure. And then his total score is going to be 6.48 for the two forms combined.
예.
Next up is Isaiah Galvez.
준비.
And he is from HK Taekwondo Texas
시작.
Forge, coached by Master Hyun Kim and Master AJ Munoz. So here looks like, again, one of the taller athletes, a little bit of a awkward upper body. It's hard to get that movement in the shoulders, right? Especially in that scissor blocks bar, but a really nice, long, extended front stance here at the top and a good transition on that 180, which is quite difficult.
And I'm noticing he's on a tatami type floor, sometimes a little bit soft and sometimes gives here and there, depending on the age of the floor and the quality of the floor. Sometimes that can be difficult to do Taekwondo Poomsae with.
Sure.
Oftentimes it's used for judo or other types of martial arts. So he may have that issue as he's going through the Poomsae. He received 6.67 for that first form, take a gyuk jump.
Right, I've taken some Aikido classes and they also use these floors. I think it's for the ones that have some groundwork where you have to fall on them. So you do want them to be a little bit softer to take the weight of those falls.
And so oftentimes athletes use a little bit smaller front stance than they would on a regular mat just to be safe. And it looks like what he might be doing here, or he just needs to adjust the size of the front stance. So that's something that you can look at. Oh, actually that one was pretty good there. With a little bit of a varied stance size as he's moving through take a gyuk jump.
바로.
Overall, pretty nice. I think that should be a solid score. That's coming along really nicely. I think just keep working on some of the consistency throughout the form, both in stances, in power, in the cleanliness, so that it's all the way through consistent. And a score here of 6.73 on that gyuk jump. And Isaiah's total score will be a 6.70.
And here is Rami Tantawi. And Rami's from Connecticut. He is a student at World Champion Taekwondo in Brantford, and he is coached by Master Nam and Master Gunsu Kim.
So on that bar that we're watching there at the top, when you grab, you should be aiming to grab the neck of somebody at your height. And then you punch all the way down, drive that knee up to your chest so that you can punch as low as your ankle. So a little easier way to cheat it so you don't move your chest is to just bring your knee up higher. So Rami here gets a score of 6.47 on his first form.
차렷 준비 시작.
Wow, from this angle, that round kick looked really high. Really well done.
Yeah, flexibility is one of his strengths for sure.
And pretty even on both sides too. So it looks pretty flexible across the board here.
one of the difficult things about Yukjong is there's so much weight shifting between back stances to front stances, especially on that horizontal line where we can, as judges, really see the weight shift. So you want to make sure that you really get it back to stack your weight on those back stances and you're not sitting in the middle. So a total of 6.77 on his second score. So Rami's overall Poomsae score will be a 6.62.
Hey, this is Coach Nelson, and we are chopping it up. I am one half of the dynamic duo, Jason and Sherman. I am the better half. But I am chopping it up today with Connor Bain. Connor, thank you for taking some time out today to talk to me. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm not too bad. So I noticed that you are sitting in front of the beautiful fireplace setup, and I was feeling offended at first. But then I see your pop collection in the back, and then I recognize that we are simpatico. So this interview was destined to happen. How many pops do you have?
I don't know. I haven't counted them all.
Yeah, I don't count mine either. I have displayed these on a shelf, and I'm going to put shelves along the wall, horizontal shelves, and then I'll display, like, I have them by groups. So I have all my mutants together, and then I have my Justice League people together, and I have the Fantastic Four, and I have Rick James and Biggie and Tupac. So anyway, so we're not doing the interview to talk about that. Let's talk about Taekwondo. So tell me, give me the statistical stuff. So where are you from? Where do you train? All that kind of stuff.
I'm from North Carolina. I train at Tyler Kim's World Class Taekwondo.
Tell me a little bit about what does Taekwondo give you? What does Taekwondo bring to you? How does Taekwondo make Connor better?
It gives me more confidence because I didn't have much confidence when I started Taekwondo, but now I've got more confidence. I started Poomsae team and demo team. I made more friends, so it's giving me more confidence.
Okay, that's a good thing. Good thing. Now I understand that you have autism.
Yes.
How has Taekwondo helped you deal with that?
Well, it's helped me be more social, make more friends.
Okay.
Competing.
Say that last part again.
Winning and competing, so it's helped me be more confident, helped me be better.
Okay, good. I'm glad that it is connecting you to some friends and some other people and support outside of your family. And there is nothing like being a part of a team. Yeah. You know, it is I think the single greatest things about team sports is learning to be a part of an engine that moves the car. You know, and I've been fortunate to compete on a number of teams and coach a number of teams, and it's a great feeling. Listen, so what do you like better, sparring or Poomsae?
Poomsae.
All right, let me ask you again. Which one do you like better, sparring or Poomsae?
Poomsae.
All right, so I think there's a problem with our audio. Which one do you like better between sparring and Poomsae?
Poomsae.
Okay, so I see how this interview is gonna go. All right, so why do you know? I'm messing with you. Why do you like Poomsae more?
Well, Poomsae has the movements are good. I have a good memory, so it helps me remember the movements.
Ah, okay, good. And so helps you sharpen the things that you're gonna need later in life for the rest of your life. Ah, that's awesome. I wish you the best down in North Kakalaki. I hope that training goes well. Continue to work hard. We will get through this current crisis. We'll get back together again. And when we do, we'll be able to catch up with each other in real life. Now I'll be able to give you a fist bump in real life instead of the virtual fist bump. Keep growing your pop collection. Yeah, Pop's gotta take over the world. And keep being a not too bad and not too good big brother, because that probably means you're a better big brother than you think you are. Thank you again for spending some time with me. Thank you for letting me chop it up with you. And yay! See, everybody has to get that chop
That's how you know you're officially in the club. See, and remember, I'm gonna teach you the second. When are you testing for your second dime?
Next month.
All right, yeah, we'll still be in the crisis next month. So when I see you, we'll be ready for that secret handshake, bro. All right. Listen, man, you're a cool guy. Thank you very much. And we'll be in touch soon, all right?
Okay.
Coach Nelson, Connor Bain, we just chopped it up. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in. And I hope you're learning a lot about Poomsae as we go. And about this time, you might want to call to somebody to bring you a snack because we have a bit more to go. We're about a third of the way there. We have 65 male cadet athletes in this division.
This is Connor Bain from North Carolina and Tiger Kim's world-class Taekwondo coached by Master Han Dong-yoon.
I like the beginning of the form. He had a lot of power on the first steps.
Right, maybe a little bit out of control here on the top, but he has power and that's really good. You just have to learn how to control it and be able to stop it. But he's really working to sink low in those stances, which I appreciate.
I think I can I can imagine what he's thinking as he's going through it. As a young athlete, he's trying to put it all together. He ends up with a score of 6.43. After working with a lot of young athletes, after a while, I go, okay, this is why they're doing that, and this is the reason for this movement here, and they're just really simply trying to put it all together. He's doing a great job, really trying to drive up high on the front kicks here, and then trying to get really low on the stances. So sometimes you might find him a little bit off, but I can see what he's shooting for.
Right, really push the low stances there in the beginning. The front stances that we just saw weren't quite as low, so we'll see if he can hang on to it here. Again, not quite as low, but sinking into the back stances.
Yeah, he's trying for it. He has more consistency in the back stance than the front stance, for sure. But hopefully that'll come next.
And this carpeted surface really reminds me of going to tournaments and being in conference centers or hotels and practicing on carpet before you go to the actual conference center and have mats. So Connor here with a 6.67 on that second form. Some more accuracy hits. I think really just trying to clean up the use of that power will help him for a total score of 6.55.
Yeah, I think we have a chunk of athletes right around that same score. So it'll be interesting to see where the cutoff is. This is Apollo Tan from Texas, and he is with the Texas White Tiger Taekwondo, and his instructor and coach is Master Song Kim. Well, those kicks are nice and high. It's up to the referees to decide whether or not that had good foot position, good extension. We saw the great height, but then they also look at all the details of the kick. He's giving himself plenty of time to finish each technique before moving on to the next one. So he's moving through this in a very balanced way. It's hard for us as we're viewing this to really know the power level, right, Miyako? Because oftentimes they're throwing a good deal of power, just cannot seem to come through on the screen sometimes. So he ends up with a 6.77. But as you're watching, you might, go ahead and reward the athlete about 80%. I mean, 80% is probably what we see of their power. So maybe award them another 20% to what they're doing out there. And that might be closer to what they're actually doing.
Right. Geez, his front kicks are so high.
And that round kick is really pretty.
It does look like his base leg is collapsing just a tad. That one, the heel came up off the ground as he's really reaching for that vertical kick. So again, really great elements, just not completely all together there yet in the package. But really good progress. Again, a slight stumble there as he's really reaching for these kicks.
And it's tough, right? There's so many parts of doing a good front kick. Needing that extension, that height, but we also need that support leg to be strong and straight, and the heel to be down on the ground, and the foot position to be correct, and the arms to not swing it around. So there's so much for an athlete to think about, especially at such a young age in this cadet division. But Apollo Tan receives a 6.9, and pretty solid scores, consistent scores among the judges for a final Poomsae score of 6.83. And here's the leaderboard here. We have Sean So in first place, followed by Dylan Kim, Michael Cho, and then we have that, had a tie there with Eric Chua in fourth, and we had that tie between Anthony Doe and I think it was Elliot Kim, if I'm not mistaken, for that fifth place spot. Those were the athletes that were in about that 7 range, right? And then we have a good chunk of athletes, the high 6s and mid 6 range.
And this is Bryce Roffey from Minnesota, part of Kukiwon Taekwondo, coached by Master Young Kim. A little bit of a bend in that knee as he was coming up to the punch where your knee comes up. You want that leg to be locked on the ground. Even if you're leaning forward just a little bit is okay, but you don't want it to be bent, which means you're going too fast. So maybe a little bit slower in that bar. He could control it just a little bit.
And Bryce Roff receives a 6.97 for Chiljung. You're right, he was pretty aggressive on the speed through that form. And sometimes that can really impact our presentation in a great way, or we can get some dings for accuracy on little things as we're going maybe a little bit too fast for our balance.
But an almost 7 score, so he didn't sacrifice too much, and he's up in the top 6 or so with that first score. Let's see if he can keep it up with this second form. So stepping down just out of line, like we've mentioned, that's one thing to watch for because it will affect where you are in line as you come back to your spot on this last bar.
We have a little swing from side to side as he's moving backward with those front stances. So that's something maybe the athletes can take a look at. As you're moving backward in a front stance, are you wiggling from side to side, or do you look really solid moving straight back? And while the judges all had the same feeling about Bryce Roff, yet receives a 6.97 for the second Poomsae as well as for his final Poomsae score.
Our 25th athlete here is Jason Morgan. He's from Colorado, part of Apex Taekwondo Academy, which we can see, nice logo there behind him. And he is coached by Master Cliff Hong.
So all the targets for kicking techniques are the head. So he may suffer a little bit with a front kick going to the midsection of the body. So something that he can probably easily improve as he's working to develop his game here is get those kicks just a little bit higher.
And a reminder to all of our athletes and parents, just by competing in this tournament, you are receiving ranking points. And that is one of the pathways to try and make the national team in 2021.
So that was Jason Morgan, and he just finished up his Taeguk Chiljung. And he receives a score of 6.23. So I'm hoping here on Taeguk Yukjung, he's all warmed up, ready to go, and able to kick just a little bit higher at the beginning of this form. Looks like he has some friends with him to root him on just behind him. He has Bob 1 and Bob 2. So hopefully that makes him feel very comfortable as he's competing. So,
and 2 more Bobs in the other corner as well.
Oh yeah, actually these kicks were higher. So good job. Sometimes our nerves play a part. So maybe at the beginning he was just trying to be super safe, but it's clear that he can get those kicks up to that head level.
Yep, a couple more accuracy things to work through here for Jason. But I'm sure that the whole score will come up and a pretty solid score even for the first round. So I think that he will do well in the coming years.
And here's Ethan Kim from Summit Martial Arts and Team M Community Poomsae program. He is coached by his master David Kim as well as An Hui and Long Huyen.
Also has a quarantine hairstyle here covering his eyes a little bit.
It's really tough to get a haircut here in California right now. So I definitely empathize with Ethan here. We might have to wait another month or two before we can get to the barbershop or salon. So that's Ethan Kim finishing up with Tae Chiljung. And I know it might be a little bit distracting, right? So maybe just gel that up a little bit. 6.7 for his score. A little bit of a ding from one of the judges at 2.7. So a little bit of spread between that and the 3.1 for the high judge and the accuracy. Looks like he has a lot of potential here. Like I see him attempting to do the full length of the front stance and really get settled, as well as the back stance. I think he's going to be a really strong athlete in the future in this division.
Definitely. Good flexibility on the kicks, like you mentioned, and a good lock on the front stance and a stacking of the weight in the back stance. There is just a little bit of a settle that I'm sure he'll continue to work on. He has great coaches, so I'm sure they'll be doing a lot of video review and learning from the video submission, which is really different from doing it live.
Yeah, without much distraction and just solid backgrounds behind him, 6.8 for Ethan Kim. It's easy to tell when the head is or shoulders, body is going up and down through the Poomsae because we have like a solid line right behind him, not like at a tournament where there are many things moving maybe in the judge's eye, but here it's really easy to tell when somebody's staying smooth and steady and at the same height and when there's a little up and down movement.
Stop.
This is Aiden Chu from Texas, a member of JK Taekwondo Academy, coached by Master Jun Kim.
And there's that little up and down motion that I was referring to as he's coming forward, the back stance techniques kind of going up and down and then up and down again. He just needs to stay a little bit more level. Looks like he has a fairly low center of gravity, so it will probably be an easy adjustment for him. So I'll be looking for that right on this turn, and he seemed to stay low pretty much there, so I think he can do it on the other transitions as well.
Right, one thing about the stances is that your back stance, your front stance, your horse stance, your tiger stance, and your crane stance should all be at the same height. Your head should not come up between those stances. And a 2.73 on the accuracy there, a little bit of a spread again, so his overall score about mid-6.
Stop.
Aiden's taking a little bit of a slower tempo here than some of the other athletes, which does give him a nice stop. It's very clean. But he's not quite as low in some of the stances, so we're losing a little bit of the rhythm and flow in this form.
I think if you just simply extended those front stances a bit, he may feel more comfortable. And as we were talking about earlier, these athletes are growing all the time as cadets, and he may have learned this stance as a real young student, and then he just needs to know that he has to adjust that stance as he grows. That was Aiden Chu there from JK Taekwondo Academy in Texas, and his score for the second Poomsae 6.67. And then his combined score is 6.58.
This is Jaden Lee from Georgia, from Kim's K Taekwondo, and coached by Master Sungjin Kim. Another dojang I recognized from lots of Poomsae video submissions. This is Team K.
We were able to see some of his teammates in the 18 to 30 male division, Senior 1, and that was fun. He has a lot of great role models at his club.
Nice lined up feet there on those last horse stances. Another thing from this angle is if your toes are out of alignment at all, we can see that from this angle, but he was right in line. So it's actually a little bit lower. I would have expected a higher score, but he's 6.6 for Jaden's first form.
I think if you can bring that stance height down just a little bit, lengthen those stances, just as we had mentioned with Aiden Chu, he would get a little bit higher scores. We can see here on the front stance, he's really giving it a shot. On the back stance, it's a little bit more shallow.
And it's also worth noting, episode to episode, we have different judges. So in some of the Senior 1 divisions and some of the Masters divisions, we were seeing scores close to 8. But the high score so far for this division is a low 7, like a 7.1 or 7.2. So you only have to be in the top half of your division. So we're looking for the top 33 highest scores here out of this round of 65 athletes. So don't compare your score to a different division or, you know, different judges. You really just want to compare with the same judges in your same group. And it's 6.73 on his second form. So his total score will be a 6.67.
And here's Matthias Bassler from World Champion Taekwondo Fairfield in Connecticut. And his master is Master Bunsu Kim and also Master Kwanjin Ha, who is a member of the 2020 National Poomsae team. There's that arm position that you were talking about. Sometimes a little bit swinging out to the right or the left is viewable to the referee, so we want to tighten up that back line. And here comes in Matthias's first score, 6.63 for Chiljang. Fairly consistent scores from the referee group there, all about a 0.1 from each other. And he now starts to take a keep jump. Nice height on the front kicks, and a surprising height round kick. I didn't see that one coming. That looked really great.
Yeah, it seems like he has really good fundamentals on his kicks.
There's a nice reach on those. He's really patient with himself, gives himself plenty of time. He could do the same thing with the front kick there, make sure he had a full chamber. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I think we did see some collapsing of the back leg in some of the front stances. So we'll see how the accuracy score is here.
So he ends up with a 6.47. It's pretty much what I thought might happen there. It seemed like about the range that we're looking for amongst the other competitors. He ends up with a 6.55. I think we're going to have huge amount of athletes right at about that same level. But here we have Sean So. Oh, that went really quick for me, Miyako. I'm not sure for you, but that leaderboard came and it went. I think I need to take a picture of it next time. But we're getting close to the halfway point here. We're going to see our number 30 competitor in just a moment.
And remember, we're looking for the top 33 to move on to semis.
And this is Nolan Ho from Just Taekwondo in Southern California. And his master is Master Justin Wang. Now, I believe his father also competed in this event, because I remember that same competition space. I believe
really using the win.
Right, I think it was either Master 1 or Master 2 division, and his father did a really good job in his division as well. That was just a perfect spot for Tae Chiljung. And for Nolan Ho, Tae Chiljung scored at 6.43. And again, very consistent among the judges. They all felt just about the same here in Nolan Ho's performance.
Nolan's favorite class is music, and he says he specifically likes K-pop. I think is another favorite among a lot of our Taekwondo athletes. Another favorite is that he likes boba. So I know we have people who drink a lot of boba. I know there's even a couple athletes like Renee Zhao who likes to make boba.
Yeah, so he'd have a lot of friends among our national team members. So that seems to be a favorite beverage for sure. Here he is finishing Tae Kyuk-jung. This is Nolan Ho from Just Taekwondo in Southern California. And he receives a 6.3 on Tae Kyuk-jung and a combined score of 6.37. So that's going to be a sit on the edge of your seat for that one to be able to find out whether or not he's made it through the semis. That's going to be pretty close. This is Mahir Kohli. And he is from Eagleville Taekwondo. And his instructor is Master Lu Jiamo, longtime referee, and has served Taekwondo very well over the years in many different capacities, trying to help develop and grow the sport. So this always seems to be the tricky part, right? Miyako, new students trying to learn Tae Chiljung, how much emphasis to put on those double blocks there? How much movement do we need in the upper body, or should we just keep the core fairly steady and calm? So this is something he's going to be, developing as he goes through the different divisions. But as a cadet, they're all just starting out, just learning the Poomsae at this level. And his first score is 5.37, so a lot of room to grow there. Got a big ding from one of the judges in accuracy at 1.7, but the other two much higher, around the 2.4 range. And here he is going through Tae Kyuk-jung. So this is what we're talking about, this posture here and being able to stand up nice and straight on that support leg would go a long way for Mahir Kohli as he goes through Tae Kyuk-jung. So right here, just pushing up a little bit more with that support leg. Really help him out, make him look super strong.
Right, and working on really extending the stances, locking out the back leg on those front stances, and trying to just freeze every frame, especially on the kick, so we just get a nice picture. I'm really watching the pre-steps on this last move, making sure you don't move the front foot as you're sliding back.
Sure.
And those scores will quickly come up.
Yeah, it looks like my hair has been doing a lot of growing lately, so it's kind of hard to put it all together sometimes when our limbs are going this way and that way and all over the place as we're getting taller and stronger and heavier. He ends up with a final Poomsae score of 5.17. But I have a feeling we'll see him again soon in future competitions. At least I hope so, because he has a lot of potential. This is Cooper Pruitt, and he is from, again, Versus Sport Taekwondo in Kansas, and his coach is Master Seth Wilson. I think he looks very similar to his teammates, Alexander Calvez and Tristan Calvez, in a way. They all seem to have similar body types. This is really cool when you're working together. Maybe one day they'll form a team, or maybe they already have.
Team Poomsae.
Yeah. That'd be great. Maybe they've already done it. I hope so. If not, guys, maybe this is the time to start practicing virtually together somehow. And for his first score, Cooper Pruitt received 6.0 for Taekwondo Choljang.
And we talked a lot about the height of certain moves. So a lot of these hand techniques should be at the face level and not at the shoulder or solar plexus height. So just making sure that you're very careful. So those single knife hand blocks to the face before the round kick should be at around the nose height. So just making sure that you're very attentive to all the moves, and cleaning up some of the accuracy will definitely help his score.
Yeah, I think he has a lot more power in the tank. He's not using all of his full strength yet, but I think that if he can extend some of those front stances and back stances, that'll give him the time and the foundational strength in order to really layer on stronger hand technique. We received a 6.27 in Taekwondo Kyuchang, and then a combined score of 6.13.
준비.
Here's Andrew
시작.
Lee from Sky Martial Arts and Team M Community Poomsae program. He is coached by Master Jun Yoon, as well as On Huynh, Hui Huynh, and Long Huynh.
So a little bit slower tempo here, more cautious, but very accurate so far.
바로.
I think that's pretty clean, and we should see a good score here for Andrew.
And again, it's hard to see the power level that some of these athletes have. Andrew Lee received a 6.87 for that first Poomsae. And as I mentioned before, we probably see about 80% or so of what we would actually see from the same athlete in person, because the video seems to diminish some of the power. And maybe just your streaming speed also might make it look a bit less active or dynamic or powerful. When he turns to this side, the front stances aren't quite as locked in as on the other side, so he just needs to take a little bit more time, finish that up, because this side here tends to always be really strong. So he just has to mirror that on the other side.
바로.
Could be a little bit wide on that last front stance. It looked about the width of his Jumbi Pado stance. So really, also another thing to keep in mind is if you're using like a wide angle lens, could affect some of these visuals. So Andrew here, second score of 6.83. Total score of 6.85. And Coach Brand, that was halfway through.
I was just going to say, if you guys haven't noticed yet, we are almost done with this division. Actually, not even close. So we hope that you are Poomsae lovers, because Boy, you are getting a full, good, strong look at this black belt, a male cadet division. So if Taeguk Chojung and Taeguk Gyukjung are your favorites, you are getting an opportunity here like no other, being able to see it 65 times. When does that ever happen? In the luxury and comfort of your own home.
Mm-hmm. And this is Zachary Toe from Texas. He's a member of Lee's U.S. Taekwondo, coached by Master Un Lee.
Hey!
Burrow. That was a pretty solid run for his Chojung. I think a couple of the front stances could have been locked out just a little bit more, but a very comfortable tempo and a mid-6 here, 6.5. There were a little bit of a spread there on the accuracy, but really consistent presentation score, 3.8 all the way across.
I can kind of see where his coach is going with Zachary, or what he's trying to emphasize here as he's just picking up the technique. His master instructor is Un Lee, one of our national Poomsae team members in the under 60 division, M3 to M2, where's he, Miyako?
I'm not sure. Oh yeah, one of the master division.
Yeah, he's at M2 division.
Hey!
So his instructor is very steady, very strong, has nice, strong core movements, not a lot of extra movement as he's going from step to step. So I can see him trying to pass along the same type of technical pointers.
You're right. It does look like a master style in a cadet body. It's just so clean and grounded. It was quite nice, actually. So a score here of 6.73 on his second form. Total score of 6.62. So you're right, Coach Brand. You called this early on. We are going to have a lot of scores here in that mid-6 range up to, 6.4 to 6.7. There's going to be a lot, and that will probably be around the area where we'll cut off for the semis.
And it's tough, that everybody can't go on to the semis. We certainly, support all these athletes as they're having fun with Summer of Poomsae, and I know that everybody wants to go forward to the semifinal round and final round. Just unfortunately can't happen that way, but we hope that as you're watching it, if you're one of the athletes in this division, that you're studying the athletes that are maybe in the 7.5 range, to make sure that the next opportunity you get, you really take full advantage of, because you have quite a few here that are strong athletes that you can learn from.
Absolutely, and not just in this division, but go back and watch some of the other episodes, see how the other age divisions, how do those athletes approach the forms. So a score here of 7.0 for Samarth, and that will definitely put him in the top half.
Great. We'll see how he does here on Taeguk Gyukjung, but off to a wonderful score with Taeguk Chojung. Really high front kicks.
I'm not sure if we mentioned, but he's from World Champion Taekwondo in Fairfield, coached by Master Gunsu Kim and Kwangjin Ha. So we did see Master KJ perform in the same space for his division in Senior 2 and did quite well. So he has some really great coaches, good people to train and work with, and I think that's definitely coming through in his Poomsae. Nice reach on the round kick. Still a little bit of a bend there in the front kick on the base leg, so work on really locking that out, but really nice extension at the top.
And maybe you've never noticed that before. If this is the first time you've ever watched Poomsae over and over again, you'll see it super clear on the screen, and then that will help you in your own practice know what to focus on. But another great score, 7.13 for Summer of Poomsae, and receives a total score of 7.07. Oh, we have the standings here and a nice long look at it with Shanso in first place, followed by Dylan Kim, and I wasn't able to see the other ones. Again, I just need a really much quicker glance on my part to be able to capture all of them.
Right, while you're watching this, go ahead and pause it so you can take a little bit of a longer look, but about the top 7 scores so far are in the 7s. So if you're hitting 7 or above, you're definitely going through to the semis.
This is an interesting angle coming out of the corner here. I haven't seen that done before. I really appreciate everybody's working hard to make sure that their whole body is in the view. So this is probably where you have to put the camera in order for that to happen. This is Julian Nguyen, and he is from U.S. Taekwondo Center. So he probably has just enough space to get his whole body in there. And then finishing up toward the corner. So the face needs to be pointing toward that corner there as he's moving on that final line.
Hello.
And 2 times he was looking to the side. So that 3 times looking to the side. So he's going to have that impact to score. So 6.07. So that's a pretty big hit, right, Miyako, on where the head faces.
Yeah, we did see the accuracy score drop there, and that's an easy fix, right? Just turning your head 90 degrees to the back instead of looking straight, and that will really help his score.
Now, he may have thought he was looking toward the rear. That sometimes happens to us as athletes, and you just want to review your Poomsae real quick to make sure everything looks like you thought you were doing it, and then go ahead and keep that one. But
right, and making sure you look with your whole head too, not just your eyes, because sometimes you can be looking with your eyes, but your head hasn't turned. So full head turn on some of these moves will help make sure that the judges really know that you're looking in the right direction.
Cadet. Junior.
And Julian Nguyen receives a 6.53 for Taekwondo jump. And a combined score of 6.3.
If you guys are watching this, go ahead and get up and stretch. Make sure you're moving around. We still have 30 more athletes to go. And here we have Sean Park from Georgia, another member of Team K. And he is coached by Master Sungjin Kim. Nice flexibility on the front kicks. Again, low stances, even though he does look a little bit on the taller side for this division. He is one of the older athletes. He will be turning 14 this year in October. Nice long extension on this top bar where you're so close to the judges and those front stances really locking out. So this is a nice presentation so far. I think we'll have a high score.
And again, that's Sean Park from Kim's Taekwondo in Georgia.
Sure.
And score for his Taego Chojung is 6.87.
So a little range on the accuracy there, but like I said, nice presentation of a 4.0 coming through.
Sure.
I think this is pretty good. Nice extension on the front kicks. Again, nice lock on the front stances. A little bit of the body shifting into place on the front stance. You'll see his chest kind of just sliding into place. So that's maybe one thing to work on, and then not piking in the round kicks. A little bit of a weird transition there in those last 2 front stances, and those are pretty hard, but watching that your knees don't collapse. We have another Adidas uniform here, so we can really see the leg movements on those last couple stances.
And Sean receives a 6.9 for his second Poomsae Taego jump and a combined score of 6.88. So pretty close to those 7s there. He may very well make the cut on that, although it's hard to know because we still have about 27 more athletes or so in this division. This is Yuri Rogachev. And Yuri is from Flying V Martial Arts. He's coached by Master Vincent Villena.
Yuri also has lots of bobs to be his audience here. I think another point to watch is when you do the 180 transition there on the top bar, that your back leg on the front stance doesn't collapse. So making sure that the heel stays on the ground and your body shifts backwards rather than trying to pull your heel up and then step around. So one of the harder transitions to make really smooth.
And that's a real common error among athletes in multiple divisions, not just cadets, but he gets at 7.07. A lot was happening right in that form, especially at the beginning. He was really able to attack the first part of that form. Let's see how he does with take a cute jump.
시작!
A little bit of head dipping on this. Sometimes when students are trying to kick really high, then their head nods a little bit forward, throws their posture off just a little bit. And I think the referees might notice that because they have such a great view from this angle.
Yeah, we're getting just a couple heel pickups and some head motion, but style is overall pretty similar to the first form. So if the judges didn't mind it on the first one, we might get another score in the 7s here on the second.
Cadet Junior.
Wow, another great score for Yuri Rogachev, 7.13 on take a cute jump, and then a combined score of 7.1. So looks like he may be moving on to that semifinal round, although I don't want to speak too soon because we still have about 27 athletes to go in the division. So we may be getting in the high 7s and 8s here. We just don't know, but let's take a look in the meantime. We're taking a look at Timothy West. And looks like Timothy is from the Philippines, from Ilolo MVP Taekwondo Gym, coached by Master Mark Pingle and Master Jalen Rose Yap.
This is the second international competitor that I've seen so far. We had a national team member from Canada, and now we have Timothy West here. So great to have some international competitors, and they get to compete against some of the best in the U.S.
And he receives a 6.43, right in that mid-range of the 6s where we have nice big group of athletes. Let's see if he can push us up into the cute jump.
Really pushing the length of these stances, but having a little bit of difficulty controlling them and coming out of them.
Yeah, I like the effort. The longer you go, the more difficult it is to control your transition, leaving that stance and trying to get to another one. A little bit of transitioning, he tends to pivot on his heel, which will throw off his balance and his score. Definitely want to be pivoting on the balls of your feet while transitioning from step to step.
Cadet Junior.
So Timothy West receives a 6.53 for take a cute jump and a combined score of 6.48. So just about where he was after the first form. On athlete number 40 now, Timothy So. He's training in New York at Team Agape with Master John Roth.
We've watched a few of these athletes now. This looks like the dojang that Haley used in the Senior 1 division, I believe, so they might be from the same school.
So this is Timothy So from New York, and he is just finishing up there with Taego Chiljang. He received a 6.6. And he's now going to continue to take a cube jump. To stand out of the pack here with these cadets, Miyako, what do you think these athletes need to do? Because so many of them in such a big group, right? In order to have the referee really notice you, they're really going to have to punch it, right? Punch the height of the kicking techniques and really have a rhythm and timing that looks solid and consistent and steady. Oh, what's your view on this?
It's so hard, especially with 65 athletes. So the 50% cut is always hard to make. I think kicks are always nice to distinguish yourself. There's no side kicks in these two forms, so they have to rely on the front kicks and the round kick. Timothy here getting a 6.97, so one of the higher scores. He should total score here of 6.78. So that second form really helping bring his score up into the higher sixes. But yeah, I think that the kicking level is really helpful to distinguish yourself from other athletes, but being really clean and just not giving up any accuracy mistakes, and then having an interesting tempo, especially if judges are sitting here, you're sitting here with us watching 65 athletes. Can you do something a little bit different that makes you look good and stand out to the judges and get their attention? So an interesting rhythm or tempo can sometimes do that, as long as there's no accuracy issues. You don't want to draw attention to the wrong thing.
And sometimes we have athletes that just kick straight up to the ceiling. That's not the case in this division today. They all seem to be at about their head level, maybe just a little bit above their head level in some cases. And so it might be a little bit more difficult for the referees to be able to distinguish here. Because as you mentioned, no side kicks in these Poomsae. And usually that's a clear decider, right? Is the kick strength of the side kick.
Right. Referees definitely look to the side kicks to help make that cut. And here we have Justin Rim from Oregon, and he gets a 6.6 on his first form. And he is from World Champion Taekwondo, coached by Master Jason Lee. Here in his home dojang, maybe an extra bedroom or something got, turned into a training space.
So as he's transitioning from side to side, sometimes we see that back heel pop up. So if he can learn to just keep that stable, he'll see his score go up a bit. So we may see it on one of the transitions coming up right there. But he just needs to keep that heel steady and just learn to shift his weight a little differently in order to keep it down. So that was Justin Rim from World Champion Taekwondo, coached by Master Jason Lee.
And it's so great getting to see everybody training from around the country. And we just had that athlete, Timothy West, from the Philippines. So great exposure here. Justin gets a 6.7 on his second form, total score of 6.65.
So hopefully you're able to catch the standings and put them on pause for just a moment. So hopefully you were able to pause them and then just eke them a little bit forward, because now we're on to competitor number 42, Jake Baudo from White Park Taekwondo Academy, his coach being Master Alex Tercios.
Jake here is from New York, and he wants to become a patent attorney when he grows up.
Well, that's pretty specific.
Especially for a cadet. You fill 14, he's going to be a patent attorney.
Wow. I'm guessing he may know a patent attorney or be related to a patent attorney. So Jake Baldo received score 6.47 for Chojang. I admire that goal, though. That would be wonderful, and if in 10 years it's exactly what he was doing and super happy in his profession.
Right, and there's the U.S. Patent Office. I have a friend who works, he has a PhD in a science, and he works at the Patent Office, so that's another option there for patent law. But Jake here showing really great flexibility on the front kicks, leaning forward into that nice deep front stance. So showing some really good technique here in Taeko Gyukjang.
Yeah, on his front kick, he really has a great right front kick and right round kick. They're really showing that off. And the left round kick was also very strong. So that right front kick and right and left round kicks really highlighted there. And I imagine his score is going to reflect that. .7. So a little gap on the accuracy score there really impacted his total score for this Poomsae. So he ended up with a Poomsae score of 6.58.
And remember, we're taking the top 33 athletes into the semifinals.
Stop!
So on athlete number 43, this is Ryan Yoon from Taekwon Kids, and he's coached by Master Bo Young Kim.
One of the younger athletes, his birthday was just a couple weeks ago, so happy birthday, Ryan. He just turned 12, just aging into this division, showing some really nice grounded stances here. A little bit of body movement as he falls into those stances, so he's still working on control, but for someone who just turned 12, I think this is a pretty good form.
Cadet 퇴장.
Sure, one of the smaller competitors is Ryan Yoon. He receives a 6.57, but sometimes that can really work to your advantage, having that low center of gravity and really being able to push out from a strong, steady base.
Stop!
Look at that, nice clean transitions, and a nice high round kick.
And a good step after the round kick too. We saw that front stance length step, which a lot of athletes have been cutting a little bit short. You can't always tell from this angle, but Ryan here taking a nice step in those transitions. Also, Adidas seems to be the uniform of choice, Coach Brand. Those nice skinny legs.
Might be that fit, yeah, that they really like. That sometimes a baggy pant on a smaller person doesn't look so awesome. Wow, 7.03 for Ryan Yoon in Taeko Gyukjang, and that combined with his first one gets him to a 6.8. So pretty darn close to some of those sevens. That, you know, right in that range right there. We know for sure it's going to move on to the semifinal round. Oh, here's a space we saw before. I believe maybe his father was in the same spot doing kumgang, and we were wondering how in the heck he was going to be able to do it. I think it's an optical illusion though, because he did just fine. So this is Ryan Sitram from High Kicks Taekwondo, and he's coached by Master Brian So.
Yeah, doing a really good job. He's just going to avoid this pull here. So good use of space as they work around this.
Yeah, he's moving the same confidence, like he knows exactly where he's at. He's not going to hit that wall. He's not going to hit that column.
Yeah, I think his dad probably trains with him. I believe he medaled in his division, so great to have the family involved. Ryan here getting a 6.47 on his first form. So we did take some hits on accuracy from the third judge. Again, a little bit of a spread. All three scores count, but cleaning up the accuracy, just making it really obvious will help your overall score. And here, Ryan showing great height on his front kicks.
Yeah, he adjusted his start point a little bit to the right and see if that factors in. Make sure that, yeah, that he can get that whole front stance in there.
Again, we're gonna go around this pole or just in front of it. But nice extension on the kicks. I think, you know, we had said we hadn't seen any super vertical kicks. There might be a slight bend in his knee, but showing really great flexibility.
Bar. Jerry.
And a 6.9 for Ryan in Take a Gyukjang. And a combined score of 6.68.
So that second score went way up, which helped pull his score up, but there were some accuracy again that one of the judges saw that dragged the score down on the first one. So we'll see if he makes it into the semis.
Here's Don Hui Kim from Kim's K Taekwondo, coached by Master Songjin Kim. We have a real good group competing in this event, which is wonderful that they can cheer each other on from home as they watch each other. That must be really exciting for them.
Absolutely, you should watch this and write in the YouTube comments, you know, cheer on your teammates. Let us know how they're doing and how you're cheering them on. I also like the air track there in the background. They must be working on freestyle, so you can work on your tricks on a nice soft landing.
And Don Hui Kim, for his first Poomsae, received a score of 6.67, and we're seeing a lot in that range. So it's going to be tough for those that aren't able to make the cut just by a little bit. And then those guys eking over going to be in a wonderful position for the semifinals to start all over again, nice and brand new, with a new set of Poomsae judges for the next round. Nice high round kick there for Don Hui Kim. And again, he's from Kim's K Taekwondo, coached by Master Songjin Kim.
Yeah, the round kicks look great from this angle. The front kicks maybe not quite as high, some lean on the body, but overall pretty solid.
I like that real strong finish on those last two steps. Sometimes people just think, well, I'm done. You know, I'll just, you know, go through the last few motions just to get back on my mark. But he actually made them important, and that is a good idea. 6.8 for Don Hui Kim for Take a Gyukjang, and then he receives a combined score of 6.73. So it's going to be pretty close for a lot of athletes.
And we have 20 more athletes to go here, Coach Brand. We're up to 46. This is Jordan Ortiz from U.S. World Class Taekwondo Gresham, coached by Master Samuel Leader.
Yeah, this is awesome. There's plenty to look at, plenty to learn from this division. We're 46 competitors into it, and it feels like we just started to me, because it really is exciting to watch the different approaches each of these athletes have, what their coaches have been working on with them, and what they feel they really want to highlight. For a lot of these athletes, it looks like we're still working on the accuracy of the hand techniques and Take a Gyukjang and some of the stance work and transitions and Take a Gyukjang. But in general, a lot of potential here in the male black belt cadet division in our Summer of Poomsae event.
Right, and these videos you can go back and watch as many times as you want. Jordan here getting a 6.53 on his first form. And you can watch these, watch the other athletes, watch who's winning, who's moving on to the next round, and see, you know, what their style is. Once you get the accuracy down, you can really start to work on a style and making yourself different from some of the other athletes.
Well, I know I spent a lot of the weekend doing just that, looking back at some of the video, checking to see what the referees were looking for, trying to find some tips on how people are moving their core without much extra movement. So plenty for me to look at, and I hope you guys are all joining me and watching the episodes over and over again. It's not often we get this opportunity, right? Because when we're at nationals, you might record a division, you might record a couple of athletes from a particular division, to have everybody right at your fingertips. All you have to do is click on one of the episodes and then just, immerse yourself in all of the wonderful learning opportunity. That was Jordan Ortiz receiving a 6.63 for his second Poomsae Taegeuk and a combined score of 6.58.
Right. Plus, you mentioned nationals. We're not sitting in those hard metal bleachers. We're at home on our couches. You can get up and walk around, pause the video, not miss any of the action. So we hope you're enjoying the Summer of Poomsae. We're really enjoying being here with you, talking you through all of these athletes. And this is Ethan Cohen. He is from New York, from YH Park Taekwondo Academy, coached by Master Alex Turcios.
And oftentimes at nationals, athletes and their parents are there for maybe 2 or 3 days and not able to stay for all of the action. So maybe they get 50% of the divisions they're able to observe, or maybe it's even less than that. But here you get all the divisions right, at your beck and call. Anytime you want to watch them, they're going to be right there for you. So you can, pretend you're at nationals and watch a few a day, and you can pick up. So Ethan Cohen received a 6.47 for that first Poomsae Taegeuk Chiljang. And sometimes even in nationals, you might have to run out, get something to eat, and come back, and you might have missed a division or part of a division that you're really hoping to see. Here, it's all right here. You can watch over and over again. And I don't know, Miyako, if you have the same, perspective, but I'm trying to get inside each of the athletes' heads and be thinking about what they're thinking about as they do the Poomsae. That's really exciting and interesting for me, thinking about what they're trying to emphasize, whether or not they're breathing with their movement, what they're picking up to focus on each step. That's the fun stuff, for me at least, trying to climb into the athlete's head.
Right. I think I like looking at the athletes and seeing if they have any teammates also competing. So Ethan here, second form 6.5, pretty close there. So total score of 6.48. And here's our rankings. 7.0s, our top 8. And we're looking for top 33. But like we said, we still have almost 20, just under 20 athletes to go. So pause, make sure you're tracking your score. We're seeing quite a few tiebreakers there in the mid 6s.
Right, a lot of 6.5-ish scores there, from 6.3 to 6.6, a ton of athletes. So tough to see. Here's Chase Gavino there, making sure he's very safe and very healthy in his environment, using a mask there, nice high kicks, and that mask is going to impact his breathing. I don't know how many times he had to try to do the Poomsae in order to get a good recording, but over time, that can be a real taxing on your stamina.
Absolutely, and if it's a cloth mask and you start sweating into it, it gets even harder to breathe. So kudos here to Chase, making sure that he's practicing, staying healthy. And he is from Youngin Taekwondo College in Virginia, coached by Master Ark J. Lee.
And Chase Gavino receives a 6.43 for Taegeuk Chiljang. So you see the mask pulled down just a little bit under his nose, so he's trying to get some extra air there, and I don't blame him, because doing these Poomsae at full speed and full power is really challenging without the mask on. So looks like he's trying to go half and half here, covering the mouth and just underneath.
Yeah, so good flexibility on the kicks. I think we're losing some of that structure of the rest of his body, arms coming out a little bit, legs caving. So we might get some accuracy hits, or they might take it out of presentation, but he has a lot of good potential and good flexibility. So I'm excited to see him in the coming couple years.
Chase gets a 6.63 on that second Poomsae, and then his combined score for both is 6.53, and again, right in the middle of the pack, where a whole bunch of other athletes are hoping to make that cut. And as you mentioned about the structure of the front kick, we have to make sure that our head isn't tilted back and up toward the ceiling. Our eyes can be up looking right at the kick, but we don't want to tilt that chin back and have that head swing back. That'll throw off the balance and throw off our score. This is Cameron Bullock. He's picked a slightly slower speed, hoping to finish each technique with some strength. I think you can probably push the accelerator a little bit on the speed and the power.
And the stances, I think, could be a little bit longer. We are seeing he's picking up his feet in some places, so we'll see if the judges give majors for that or if they just take it as a minor, but really work on cleaning up the feet. We did take some hits there on the accuracy, so score of 5.33 on Cameron's first form.
준비. 시작.
Yeah, maybe just spread out that front stance a little bit. Work on keeping that heel down on the transition.
And the great thing, like we mentioned about this episode, is you can go back and watch 64 other athletes do the exact same form back to back to back. So hopefully if you don't quite understand what we're saying, you can go and watch and just see how you compare to the other athletes. And it looks like Cameron stepped forward there at the very ending instead of backwards, so he might take a major deduction on that. So yeah, accuracy did go down to 1.97, total of 5 on his second score. And his total combined score will be a 5.17.
And there will be plenty of to watch and to learn from, not just this round, this preliminary round, but the semifinal and the final round that will be airing on future episodes.
시작.
So here we have Jacob Varney from Florida. He goes to Ong's Taekwondo, a very familiar backdrop that we've seen here from Angelito and Rebecca Ong. And like I mentioned, they're in Florida. And so far, doing a nice Chiljang. Slight body movement. He could extend his front stances a little bit more. Maybe he's grown a little bit recently. But really push the length of those front stances and really sink into some of these horse stances at the end and control those body wiggles. It's so hard, especially in the last bar there, to really tighten your core and not let your body sway at all. But Jacob, pretty good overall form. We'll see what the judges think here. So a little bit of a spread on the accuracy, but overall his score is a 6.83. If he can keep that up, that should clear him into the semis. We'll get a look at those rankings again soon. Nice alignment on the round kick.
Jacob also has quite a few teammates in this Summer of Poomsae event. So hopefully they're all cheering him on from home, texting him, telling him how awesome he's looking. On both of these Poomsae here.
차렷. 공을.
So Jacob Varney received a 6.97, real good score for Taekwondo in this division, and receives a final Poomsae score of 6.9. So
yeah, that should clear him into the semis.
Yeah.
준비.
Here we have Sean. Sean Choi is from Connecticut, a member of World Champion Taekwondo in Fairfield, coached by Master Kwang Jin Ha and Master Gunsu Kim. Another familiar space we've seen here, another air track back there. That's a really long air track. That one looks great. I would love to go play on that one.
That is immense.
At first I thought it was just painting, but then I saw the handles. Sean here showing really great stability on the front kicks. I'm not seeing that body sway that I mentioned in a couple of the athletes. Pretty good control. Could use his core just a little bit more, but you know, you don't want to do too much like weightlifting or anything at this age. So just doing push-ups and sit-ups, normal body weight exercises will help you get that control you need. And a really high score here. Wow, 7.3. That's the highest score I think we've seen yet.
I think so. I think he pushed himself into first place there, and hopefully he can hold on to it with his second Poomsae, take a cube jump.
시작.
So he's putting together a lot of the elements that we talked about. Nice, strong, high kicking technique combined with nice balanced stances. He's trying to shoot to lock him in, not all the time successful, but most of the time. And finishing very, very strong with Taega Kyuchang. That last line was really very strong. A lot of athletes tend to rush through that, but he took his time and made every hand technique very powerful. He received score of 7.2 for Taega Kyuchang, so that should definitely put him into first place at this point in the division. Received a final score of 7.25.
Here we have Jonas Kale Garman. He's from North Carolina, member of Pure Taekwondo Center, coached by Master Bernard Posey. I like the stickers or the graphics in there in the background. It's fun.
Yeah, he's coached by Master Posey, one of our USA Taekwondo athlete reps. Real strong competitor himself, and now a strong advocate for all of our USA Taekwondo athletes. So there's that little lower back arch that we talked about before. You mentioned that it's not as common in some of the male competitors as a female, but we've seen it here a few times, especially the last few competitors. Trying to keep that lower back flat would be something that Jonas Garman can work on. We see that 6.27 for that first Poomsae. And that might seem like a little nitpicky item, but if it's something that can get cleared up, it will make him feel a lot more balanced.
Right, it really helps with your balance more than, it's not an accuracy deduction. It's just, can you control the way that your body is moving, and that will help reduce any extra upper body movement as you sink into those last moves. And those are the last things that the judges see as they go to do the presentation. So cleaning that up, really cleaning up the last moves of any form is really important.
So you can tell he has a sparring coach to mentor him because his kicks are nice and high, strong. It's on those transitions where he might need a little bit of the work, and a little of that up and down motion can be smoothed out a bit, kind of tempered a little bit so his head stays at the same level as he transitions. That was Jonas Garman receiving a score for the second Poomsae, 6.33 for Taega Kyuchang, and a combined score of 6.3. Now I believe, Miyako, we're down to just 13 competitors left in the division. So I'm really interested in seeing if we're going to see another 7.3 coming up on the board to kind of change the whole look of the division scores, or if we're going to be right in the middle here.
Yeah, we've had a lot of scores kind of in the 6.5-ish range, but Sean Choi holding on to that 7.3 at the top for now. Let's see if any of these last remaining about 12, 13 athletes can pull out a upset here and get into the top spot. And this is Grant Vermeulen from Oregon, from U.S. World Class Taekwondo, coached by Master Samuel Leader. And Coach Brand, we've seen some of these athletes, the cadets, with the red and black belt instead of the full black. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Right, so this is a Poom belt here, and sometimes we see the athletes wear it upside down. You want to make sure you have the black on top and the red on the bottom. Grant receives a 6.6 for that first Poomsae take a chill jump. So they have that really nice distinctive uniform of being a Poom. Oftentimes for certification up to age 16 years old, the young black belt is given this Poom belt by their club instructor, at least Kukiwan instructors, or those who certify under Kukiwan certification. They'll have this Poom belt and Poom uniform, and at age 16, then it'll shift in many clubs to wearing a full black belt and a full black V-neck. But in our divisions here, the 12 to 14 will wear a Poom, and then starting 15 to 17, they'll switch from this to a black V-neck and black belt.
Right, but these are all black belts. So just in case you're watching and you're confused, these aren't full black belts. They're just in the 12 to 14 age range.
I just think of it as a special designation. Anybody able to get their belt at such a young age gets this extra special looking Poom belt. Grant finishes with a 6.77. And there are your leaders there on the board. Hopefully you can pause it, take a quick look, and we'll see a ton of these athletes at the mid-6 range here.
And I think I caught if you're above about a 6.6 or so, you should be moving on to semis, but we have about 10 or so, 12 athletes still to go. And here we have Alvin Chung from California, another member of Just Taekwondo, coached by Master Justin Wong. We hope that, watching all 65 athletes, you're able to pick up on some of the little minute differences that really start to make a big deal. Are your stances locked? Do you have clean body stop, or does your body keep moving in between stances? Lots of little things, is your head caving on your front kick? Just watching a whole bunch of them will really help you identify things in your own Poomsae that maybe you haven't looked at before. And then you can work on them and scrub it and look forward to the next tournament.
Well, it's such a nice big division. There's a lot to study here.
30 seconds.
Oftentimes at a national championship, there might be this many or even up to 100 athletes, or sometimes more for cadet female. Alvin Chang receives a total score of 6.73. So again, they're right in the middle of all of those mid-6 scores. And sometimes at nationals, we might not have the best viewpoint. We might be in the stands a little bit to the right or a little bit to the left of the action. This angle really gives us an opportunity to see exactly how that center referee would see the action. It might be fun too for those of you at home to go ahead and take a stab at scoring some of these athletes as well, and see if you're close to what the referees came up with as their winner.
Right, and if you don't know how the scoring works, don't fret. USA Taekwondo has you covered. There are referee seminars coming up all fall, both in Poomsae and in sparring, that you can take remotely. So you can learn how to be a referee, get certified, and then come back and try these scores out for yourself. So Alvin here getting a 6.63 on his second form for a total of 6.68. And that's going to be really close. That's about where the cutoff is going to be. So we'll see if Alvin here makes it into the semis.
Hey, I'm David. I'm part of the 2020 USA National Team for the Deer Division in the Pair Division, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
And hi guys, I'm Yeon Jung. I made a Team USA for the World Game at Denmark in Junior Division. And I'm from Alabama.
So back in January, during the Grand Slam, after we were notified that we made Team USA for the World Championships, we're obviously really thrilled, because personally, for both of us, like unlike a lot of veteran members of Team USA, it was the first time that we were going to World Championships, even though we went to Pan American Championships last year. And, you know, it was really exhilarating knowing that. And it was just a huge thanks like my own master Sungjin Kim, and also to Master Jung as well for always coaching us.
Yes, it was, yeah, for all of us, it was very nervous because our first time, and we really feel honored to represent USA. I'm thankful to everyone who support us and cheer for us.
So when I was first notified that World Championships in 2020 was canceled, I think it was Yeon, my partner, who actually texted me first. I remember waking up and I was about to go to the Toljang, and Yeon just texted me. He was like, "Yo, Worlds is canceled," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because I was honestly shocked, and it didn't hit me until later. And I got kind of sad later on, so that's when it really hit me. I was like, "We're probably not gonna have a chance until like 2 years later to make the team again." So my initial thoughts were kind of just like, I was really confused, honestly, because again, it was like our first year making Worlds.
When I first heard that World got canceled, it was really heartbreaking, and I actually felt vain because like everyone here worked so hard with pressures, but of course because of COVID, we had to take care of our body, and I think this is really good experience for our lives, and I'm gonna take this time as an advantage to practice more and harder for the next competition.
Also, one thing I kind of realized was after I was notified that Worlds was canceled, I started thinking, are Yeon and I ever going to be able to train again for pairs considering this whole pandemic? Like, are we ever going to meet up physically? Those are some thoughts that are running in my head. Like, are we even going to get this opportunity? Because I'm a senior next year and Yeon's still a junior. So one of the biggest obstacles that we faced, Yeon and I, as a pair, was that we live in different states. She lives in Alabama, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. That's pretty a long distance to drive. So the only time we really practice together is during winter break. So there's this 1 to 2 week period where we can train. And that's how we train for the Grand Slam, and fortunately made the 2020 US team. And since next year, I'm a senior and she's still a junior, you know, we're gonna face similar, you know, distances in training. But I feel like because we were able to train together for only short periods of time, I feel like in 2022, when time comes again for Worlds, we'll still be really prepared to train together and get our synergy back.
Yes. So it's really hard because, yeah, we're definitely like Atlanta and Alabama is far away. So for next competition, we probably like need to practice like ourselves a lot because of COVID. So next time we meet, we'll like be good.
And also one thing, I know because we're all in a pandemic right now, we're all at home, we're all probably away from each other. One thing that Yeon and I are planning to do is, you know, send videos of each other to improve to each other, so we know like where we are in terms of like our rhythm, our skill, just our Poomsae flow in general. And I think that's one thing that I could recommend to a lot of people, you know, who have a pair or team with others, but can't really meet with each other. I think sending each other videos is a really great strategy. So in all of my years of competing, I've been competing since 2015. Probably the biggest advice I could give to any Poomsae athlete training is to train with purpose. And by that I mean, have a goal, set a goal, a reasonable goal, and try to attain that goal by all means possible. You know, like when I say train with purpose, I mean, you need to be driven. You have to be self-driven. You can't have people there to tell you to do this, tell you to do that. You have to be self-motivated. And one thing I would say is that I was really lucky to have a master and coach who was there with me all this time, you know, sending me to competitions, saying I want to do this, and he would back me up anytime I wanted to do anything. And again, that goes right along with training with purpose. You know, being a driven athlete means going that extra mile to attain a certain goal that you have.
For me, I started competing in 2016 when I was in youth. And for me, it was actually hard to get motivation because all I have here was just our family. I didn't have any teammate, so it was really hard to motivate. But because you at least have a family member, we help each other a lot because we're a family, we see more like mistakes to each other. So that was really good. And what David said, set a goal when you like competing. Like for example, my goal was to get a first place or do better than the last competition, but that made me motivated a lot.
So to everyone competing in Summer of Poomsae, whether you're youth, cadet, junior, or even senior, no, you already competed. I just want to say good luck. Good luck. It's not all about winning. It's about doing better than you did last time. And again, set those goals. Be the athlete you want to be, and you can get there.
Good luck, everybody. I know you guys already filmed the Poomsae. All you guys have to just wait, but keep the hope, and you got this. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
And with just 11 more athletes in the division, here is Caden Ho. Looks like from his home training space. Pretty neat. A lot of mat there in that room. That's really nice that he has the support at home to put together such a nice training space.
And even a mirror there to practice your kicks or make sure things are in line. That's always really helpful.
So Caden Ho is from Briargate USTC in Colorado Springs, and his coach is Master Ho Jung Park.
He actually probably could have started over just a little bit to the side. He almost ran into the wall, but he had good spacing, didn't hit anything, so good use of space.
Good start for Caden Ho at 6.73 as a score for Taeguk Chiljang. It's really nice of whoever is helping him put together this room. Looks like he has a lot of targets to use in his practice, both paddles and a stationary target there. So thank you to whoever put that together for Caden.
Also 2 racks of belts, so maybe a sibling or a parent who also does Taekwondo with him, which would be fun. I know I did a different martial art growing up with my sister, and it was always nice to be able to go to practice together, push each other. She was older, and we did self-defense. She always beat me up, but once I got older, I started beating her in Poomsae, so it all comes full circle.
I know the feeling of being beaten up by brothers and sisters. Miyako, I have 9 brothers and sisters.
Oh, wow.
And took their shot as I'm the 8th of 10.
Oh, geez.
And here we have Caden Ho, 6.67 for that second Poomsae. And again, it's going to be pretty close, right around these 6 7s here. 6.7 for Caden Ho's final score.
All right, everyone, I've been standing up, stretching while we're doing some of these athletes, but we're down to the last 10, so I'm sitting down. I'm really excited. Here we go with Yerick Gunn. I believe Yerick was the national team member for 2020 in this division, so we saw his brother earlier coming out with really nice, high, controlled front kicks. He has such presence, even on this video recording.
Yeah, he is a current 2020 national team member in the cadet male division. He's had some past experience here on some other online tournaments at the Dado Online, the first event, and then as well as the, I believe, the Hamadong and the Oceania event. So he's getting a little seasoned here on these online events. And he looks like he's in complete control here, completely unaffected by the camera, just really focusing in on what he wants to present and the rhythm he's trying to use here.
Sure.
Right, and he's part of Team ATMA out of New Jersey, coached by Master Yerick Gunn, who we've mentioned before. Huge score here. So the highest one so far is 7.4.
Right. So if he sticks with this, he'll be in first place in the preliminary round.
Semifinals.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, well, going into the semifinals. He'll be first in prelims and definitely go into semis. Nice big step there. Well, Yerick here just giving us a master class in Taeguk Yukjang.
Right, so if you're watching this and you really want to know step by step how to improve your Poomsae, there's a lot to look at here. And the rhythm, he has really strong hand technique.
Fresh haircut. looking sharp. Yeah, that was really great. We did see a little bit of caving in the base leg on the front kicks, but I think he was really pushing the height and power. So he allowed some collapsing on the bottom there, but huge score here, geez, 7.6 by far. I mean, he gapped his own score, which was the highest score. So his overall score will be a 7.5, solidifying him in that first place spot for now with just about 9 or so athletes to go.
준비.
And here's Daniel Lee. He is from Master Ju's World Class Taekwondo, and of course, coached by Master Hyun Ju.
And that's a super unique background there. I can't tell if it pops out or not, but you have the American flag on the right and the Korean flag on the left, with all those Taekwondo athletes in the middle. So that's super cool. I haven't seen anything like that before.
Yeah, really neat relief style artwork in the back. So I think Daniel just needs to spread out some of his stance work, maybe get a little bit lower in those, bend those knees a little bit more. He's wearing a black belt here, needs to be wearing a Poom belt. So just take note of that if you are a cadet athlete, you want to use that Poom belt. 6.37 for Daniel Lee's first Poomsae.
준비. 시작.
Very flexible, showing really high kicks, but I think maybe his tempo is a little bit too fast for him. I would slow down just a little bit, really sink into those stances, make them a little longer, and just really control the whole body movement.
It looks like he's trying to be a little bit more assertive on this form. And it's hard to know, is this the first time he recorded it or the 10th time he recorded it? You know, sometimes as we get into it, we just want to get through it. So maybe he just said, I'm going for it on this one. I'm going to push the speed a little bit. Gets a 6.7 in Taega Gyukjang, and then a combined score of 6.53. So again, right in the middle range there, 6.53. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to get into the semifinal round, but it's going to be interesting to see. And here's Ken Yoshida, also wearing that black belt and black V-neck. So not the correct uniform. I think it was in the packet, had some drawings of the correct uniform, right, Miyako? So want to make sure we're checking that event information.
Right, some of the local tournaments will allow you to wear this white V-neck uniform. Do check the packet, make sure that if you're supposed to wear the V-neck with the colored, the Y-neck with the colored pants, do check that, and the black belt versus the Poom belt. So really read through the tournament packet. Always good to know the details so that your athlete doesn't get any deductions. Although I think I have seen other athletes compete in a full white uniform, and I don't think we've seen any deductions, so it might be okay for this tournament. But do always check that just to be safe so you don't take any deductions unnecessary. Yeah, so I think he's okay. I don't see any deductions taken here for that uniform. Overall score of 6.27.
And Ken is from Char Taekwondo Martial Arts in Pennsylvania, and his coach is Master Sam Char.
He also has a really great space, nice open, and we can see some full mirrors there on the right side of our screen on his left, which again will really help with training and just give you that visualization that you need to be able to correct any mistakes.
Yeah, it looks like a great training space. Like he could do every single Poomsae right there, and also do a little drilling in front of a mirror. So this is Ken Yoshida from Pennsylvania, and his coach again is Sam Char, and his total score for the second Poomsae Yukjang was 6.37, and his combined score is going to be right in the middle there with a lot of other athletes at 6.32. We're going to have a lot of athletes really close to that. It's going to be kind of tough. I know to not make the cut because everybody is so close. So just remember, just keep training and then come right back at our to our next event. This is Leah Morales Hill from Spirit Taekwondo in Nevada, coached by Master Yasmin Brown.
So it's pretty clean. I expect accuracy to be fairly high. Good tempo, good control. Maybe not quite the expression that we saw a couple of the other athletes have, but really nice overall performance. And he gets a score of 6.77. We did have Judge 1 there have an accuracy lower than the other two, so that did pull the score down just a little bit.
Again here, wearing the black belt. Just a note to our young athletes in this division for the next time around, just check the packet and or make sure that you're wearing the correct uniform. So we want to be wearing the Poom belt generally in this division. That was a nice high left round kick.
Yeah, some really nice things coming through for Isaiah. The round kicks you mentioned, I think he has a nice extension on the front stances. A couple things to clean up here. Again, that accuracy being dragged down just a little bit. So his total combined score is 6.75. Here are those rankings. We have just a few to go, and the top 33 will move on. So that 33rd score right now is 6.62, and we do have a tie there. So if you are one of the upcoming 6 or 7 athletes, you have to beat that 6.62.
And here's Cooper Canoon training with us here in Sacramento Taekwondo. Training in his specially made space here in his garage. One of our taller athletes for sure here in the division.
And Coach Brand, you are Cooper's coach.
I'm just 13 years old, so who knows how tall he's going to be getting.
That was a really nice transition there, that 180, very clean. And I saw Cooper compete in a different online event and submitted some fun facts. I know that he did a mohawk one year for his Halloween costume, and he also has a cat whose name is Fluff. So I also have an orange cat who's very fluffy, and his name is Nacho. But Cooper gets a 7.13 on that first form. Definitely one of the higher scores, so we will see him in the semifinals, pending any, drastic things here in the second form, but so far looking good.
You have a great memory, Miyako. All of these athletes that we have been observing and enjoying, and you remember even their cat's name. Good job.
Well, I kept hoping the cat would show up in the video. He competed in, I think, his living room or something. It was inside. And I was like, where's the cat? I want the cat. But Cooper, wow, really great flexibility. His front kicks, no upper body movement, basically. Yeah, it's a really nice form.
Well, let's check out the score for the second Poomsae here for Cooper Canoon. Comes in at 7.3, so that's a pretty good score here in this division. I think in maybe the top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
The final Poomsae score is 7.22, so maybe that's number 3, number 4-ish. I don't have the scores handy right here, but I bet all of you watching have been taking notes upon notes, and now we're to athlete number, we're up to number 61. This is Alfred Lopez Salas from Texas Force in Texas there, coached by AJ Munoz and Master Hyun Kim.
Nice, great setup. They took a lot of time and effort to put those black sheets up in the back to make a nice, clean recording space with the flag, always nice. So we appreciate the effort there. A little bit of a slower tempo here, but very controlled, pretty good accuracy. I think probably trying to show some power coming through in those moves.
Sure.
And 6.77 for Alfred Lopez Salas in the first Poomsae Taegu Chojang. So it's going to be tight, but I believe that was a good enough score for that first one here. So hopefully he can stay solid on the second one and capture his spot to move toward the semifinal round. Nice high round kick there. That looked really good. Looks like he's really trying to reach, really focusing on getting that best height out of that front kick.
Hello. I think there's a lot of really good things coming through here for Alfred, and he says his favorite class is science, and he's played the piano since he was 6 years old. So another musician here, I think, also helping with Poomsae. Score comes in at 6.87 on his second form for a combined score of 6.82.
And I don't mean to butcher his name. I'm thinking maybe it's Darton Nutsupo, also from Texas, the Texas Force Taekwondo. So his teammate just went just before this.
A little bit taller than his teammate.
A lot of good potential here. I think maybe just, again, like many of the other athletes, just getting a little bit more comfortable while he's growing, maybe extend some of those stances out. That might help a little bit, but it looks like he has a lot of great potential to do well in Poomsae. Ended up with a 7.0 on that one. Really good score for that first Poomsae.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, there's just a handful of athletes here left. We have 3 more after he finishes. So getting a score around a 6.6 or higher, 6.7 will guarantee you a spot in the semifinal. So really good score there on the first run and pretty similar style here in the second one. So we should see him go into the semis.
Really reaching up for those round kicks, really pushing up.
I think really solid here. Let's take a look at his second score. 6.83. So we dropped a little bit from the first score, but overall they get averaged. So his combined score will be a 6.92, which will definitely be enough to see him through to the semifinals. And Coach Brand here, we only have 3 more athletes to go.
Here we are with Nix Anderson, and he is from Arizona Pride, and he is coached by Master Ruben Lawley and Megan Yee, a former National Poomsae team member. This is great.
Yep, and Megan flies out to Arizona from California, really doing some great time with these athletes, really helping them along. The Arizona Pride team looks really great. I know I've seen some of their athletes at the US Open and other tournaments, President's Cup. So Anderson here taking some really nice low stances and nice locked leg on the front stance. So those are some really nice things coming through here.
I thought that was a strong performance by Anderson Nix. Really impressed with his ability to stay control and moving at that speed. And gets a 6.63. I thought that might go a little bit higher. He looked pretty solid.
Yeah, I liked that a lot, actually. Let's hope that his second form, because that's right there on the edge. 6.63 is the cutoff to semi. So I hope that he gets a higher score here on the second one and makes it through to the next round, because he has a lot of great potential.
A couple of accuracy things on that first line. Just the height of the hand techniques. How he's really pushing up, really trying to get that front kick going. A little bit more work on the technique itself, when to chamber, when to extend, how to really use that foot position to make that kick look solid.
Right, we're not quite seeing the good ball of the foot push through. The ankle's bending a little bit too much. So the score is a little bit higher, 6.73 on his second form. It's going to be so close, Coach Brand. 6.68 here for Anderson. So 2 more to go, and then we'll show those ranking points, and then, sorry, not the ranking points, the ranking standings, and then we'll take the top 33 athletes.
Okay, so this is Ari Smith, and he looks like he's from versus Sport Taekwondo there with Master Seth Wilson. And this is, I think, the 4th athlete. They all look very similar, and I think they will make a great team together and actually even have an alternate if they needed. They move very similarly. Uh-oh, he took that hand technique from the wrong side of his body, but now this one is corrected. So he did both from the right side on that one step. You get some of these kicks up a little bit higher. Yeah, very similar to the other athletes from his club. A lot of potential for great teams. And if there's also some female cadets from that club, they have a ton of pairs there. So Ari Smith finishes with a 5.83 in the first Poomsae Taegu Chiljang, and moves on here with Taegu Chiljang.
We're seeing some up and down movement on the head. We really want to stay grounded as much as possible and sink into those stances. So Ari can work on that a little bit, watch some of the other athletes, and just keep working with your team. I think it's great to have teammates to train with. A good alignment on the round kick.
Each one of the hand techniques has a specific start point and end point, so maybe just a little review of that on the strike to the front right before the round kick. Right now he's finishing off to the side, either the right side or the left side. He just has to bring that to the center. So small details like that. He ends up with a 7.3 in the second Poomsae. And then a final Poomsae score of 6.57. I'm just going to check a little bit here on that accuracy there of the score. Making sure that we're seeing the correct screen. And this is Lorenzo. So sorry if we weren't accurate on that last one. This is Lorenzo Marsciullo, and he's from New York. He trains with Team Champions in Long Island, and his master instructor is Master and Coach Hyun Suk Lee. And he had a teammate that looked very similar to him as well. The body type and structure of his movement looks very similar.
And right now we're all practicing by ourselves, at home, probably over Zoom workouts. But once you can be in your dojang with your friends and teammates again, we're seeing a lot of groups here who could do pairs, teams, and hopefully pairs as well. And teams and pairs are some of my favorite divisions. It's so much fun to learn from other people. So hopefully some of you guys can get together, see each other, and do some teams in the future. Lorenzo here getting a 6.13 on his first form.
So since you do pairs and teams, Miyako, are you training with that right now?
No, because we're just doing individual. So, and I'm my normal teammate Carissa just aged up into senior 2, so I'm doing team with other teammates who I haven't worked with as much before. So normally we would be doing more work, but I always do video work with my teammates, and you can still do it if you record videos and send them to each other. You can use things like Coach's Eye to splice videos together, and then you can just watch the 2 or 3 of you do it and then compare and fix. And it's not the easiest, but you can definitely still make a lot of improvements while we're all separated in quarantine.
Well, that's when you know you have a real passion for Taekwondo, when you're putting those Coach's Eye videos side by side. And Lorenzo Marashulo has a 6.82, was it? And then a 6.5 for his total score. So right there again in the middle. So our standings are Eric Gunn in first, followed by Sean So, Sean Choi, Cooper Canoon, Dylan Kim, Michael Cho, Yuri Rogachev, Smarth Basov, and that's as far as I got before the screen was disappearing in front of me. But we have up to number 33 here, athlete number 33. That's going to be our cutoff here on the next screen. So it's going to end up at the 6.67. That was the score that you needed to have in order to move forward into the semifinal round in our Summer of Poomsae event. Lots of great action here and so many athletes so close to that cutoff. And I'd like to give a big shout out to our referees who were able to stay focused and really true to scoring in the best way possible here so our athletes could make sure that they had every opportunity. Thanks for joining us on this first episode of our Cadet and Junior Action. It was a fantastic first division, right, Miyako? Our Cadet male black belts did a wonderful job showing us and highlighting to us what fantastic technique they have.
Absolutely. You know, I've never really gotten to see a full cadet division when I go to nationals. Like we mentioned throughout the episode, you're always running around watching your division, and to be able to see all of these athletes go through from start to finish, I think I learned a lot. Hopefully watching, you guys also learned a lot, things to pick up on, what to work on. Here's my cat Nacho, everyone. He's here with me. He also enjoyed all of the Cadet Poomsae.
Awesome. So we have probably lots of people viewing along with Nacho, and thank you very much for joining us in this first episode. We had 33 athletes move on to the semifinal round. So those athletes who had a score of 6.67 or higher are on to the semifinal round. In a future episode, we hope that you can join us for that one as well. So instead of having 65 athletes, we'll be taking a look at the top 33 in this division. And we hope that you can join us, have a great time with us, and make sure that you're bringing lots of note paper with you so that you can take notes about what the strongest athletes are showing in that event.
Right, and we have more episodes coming up. Cadet females, as well as the junior male and female black belts are coming up, so make sure that you keep checking the schedule. Tune in. We have a lot more Poomsae coming up this summer.
Also, we have the color belts in the cadet and junior divisions as well. So we have blue, red, all the colors of the rainbow will be there, and we hope that you'll be able to join us for all of those as well. Thanks to everybody at USAT for putting this together, Alyssa Allen, Jose Villapondo, especially through your tireless effort that we get to have all this great viewing action.
Wow, welcome back. That was such a huge competition. So many competitors, Sherm. Really impressed with those kids' ability to go out there and handle adversity in their dojang or their home, wherever they're competing, and nail a Taeguk 6 and Taeguk 7 like they did.
Yeah, that's a lot of Poomsae, man.
Yes, it was.
That was a lot of Poomsae. Hey, for real, that was a lot. That was a lot of Poomsae. Yeah. I think I might have reached my Poomsae limit for the day. But that was a lot of Poomsae. But it was exceptional. And the thing is, that realistically, there's really no bad ones. They're just good ones and then really good ones. And that's what, you know, I'm enjoying about this Summer of Poomsae, is that we're getting to see people really push the envelope, you know, and really force the judges to be critical and judicious and really nail down the very small, minute details. And that's really what separates, you know, winning from almost winning. So congratulations to the 33 athletes that are advancing to the semifinals. And just know that there's a whole lot more Poomsae left to go.
Yeah, no, again, you're right. Congratulations to all our competitors. But you're, like you said, 33 moving into the semifinals that you'll see in upcoming episodes. So don't go anywhere. We've got more episodes for you of the Summer of Poomsae presented by USA Taekwondo. You've been chopping up with Jason Sherman. We've got more coming for you. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
The sky is on fire.